little bit more ice.
Okay.
You think? Where were you, like here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can do
Just
like
thought I'd do that after.
just a touch. Yeah, after what Wayne said.
So this is a touch more ice. So it'll be a little further out, okay? It's more weight.
What did I throw?
Line's nice.
Okay.
Line's really good. Got to move a little bit. Nope, line's good. 14.
Can I be like that one guy and just lift the rock and wipe it on my shirt?
All right. That's the right line, yeah. 14, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Probably too much.
14 to T. Okay. Good, good.
Mine's right here. 14.
Okay.
I like that path.
Okay.
Line's good.
It's on the
So
same
you're
path.
sneaky.
Line is
Are
good.
you guys good with me throwing like
Line is
6
good.
70 then?
Line's good.
Stay close. It's starting to curl.
Yep.
Troy?
14-1.
Where is he?
Whoa.
Close.
Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa.
Close.
Whoa. Whoa.
great shot.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to hold
Good shot. Okay.
Sure, it doesn't matter.
Good sweep.
3,
Nice.
3 1/4, 3 1/4.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Sorry. Actually, I don't. They're not there yet, so maybe it's okay. Maybe they don't care about this part.
turn it down.
Damn. This is gonna be out of control. Just so you know. Although I do think that they mute us while they're doing it.
Good line.
Little push.
See,
I missed it too. I know.
line is right here. Also,
I got a
13.
12-8, and I don't think that's right.
Stay close. Whoa, whoa.
Okay. I was like, I got a 12-8, and I'm pretty sure that's not right.
nice shot.
Great.
Well,
Might be.
Like a half an inch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great, Katie. Hey.
but considering that we both put it on the button.
Quarter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way to go.
No, I can't. No.
Where I said it.
We want you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So if they're drawing cup forward, we want to play pretty clean.
Okay.
They
Okay.
jump the guard.
It was close. Closest one of the day. Or
Yeah.
closest one of the weekend.
All right. It's good though.
Oh.
We're going to do
Yeah,
that.
back quad.
Yeah.
Or back
My
quad
stuff is
if
down here,
you're
so I gotta grab it before I go down that. But top 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Segway.
I'm talking to you.
Segway.
Yeah.
You're gonna do a thing. Okay.
Stop. Did we shake hands?
No, we didn't.
Good curling.
Oh.
Good curling.
Good curling.
Good curling. We're terrible people.
It's okay. Good curling. Good curling.
Last one.
Good curling. Good curling. Get your room out of my way. Anne-Marie! You can't, Anne, you can't say that on the live stream.
No, I didn't.
Welcome everybody to the St. Paul Let's Cure Lupus Cash Spiel. It's the 10th draw, Saturday night at 8 p.m. I am joined by Stephen Berklid. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping in.
Absolutely.
You were requested actually on the last live stream.
Well, I would love to appease the fans.
Yeah, I hear you. So today's match is between it's a tale of sisters. Dubberstein versus Rhyme. So on the Dubberstein rink, Allison Howell is lead. Jenna Bucheski, I'm going to have this wrong, I'm sure, is second. Cora Farrell is third. And Anne-Marie Dubberstein is skip. And then on the Rhyme squad, Ann Harden is lead. Katie Rhyme is second. Kate Dubberstein is third. And Kim Rhyme is skip.
There we go.
Last year, Kim was on the show sheet twice.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I never knew she's local. And I didn't know of her existence, and I've got to know her since, and she's a wonderful human. Dancer.
Awesome.
So, Stephen, I don't know if you've listened to any of these streams that I do, but I don't know anything about curling, so I rely on you to keep the game interesting.
So this is you being the play-by-play and me being the color.
No, the opposite. We don't really do play-by-play, but yeah.
Lots of color.
Yeah, but we want to make sure we concentrate on the curling.
Okay.
So you were fun to watch.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And when I was commentating, I think your game, I think I had Mike Farbolo as the commentator, and he gave you high praise and said that you had a lot of passion for the game, and it came through in how you played. Well, you're very into it.
Well, thanks, Mike. Wherever he is.
Wherever.
That's true. And I think you're going to see that from a lot of people out here, actually. You know, there's a lot of youth and vigor in these competitions now. And it's exciting to see. It's an exciting time for the sport.
We can go. Okay. Good forward finish. Hard finish, Jenna. Hard finish, hard finish.
So on your card, I put Dubberstein is 2-1. And, Rhyme squad is 1-2.
So playing for their lives at this point.
Yes. And there are some tiebreaker scenarios that I'm not really clear on. Apparently on the men's side, if Jason Smith wins, and I think he's on sheet 2.
Yep.
If he wins,
there will be one tiebreaker, I think.
Yeah.
And then the other potential is if Ruinen loses on sheet 1, then it's a bigger clump.
So you probably care because you're in it.
Yes. Although it's so up in the air as to who we play that we're just kind of waiting to see what happens at this point. I think we're locked in as either the 2 or the 3 seed by the virtue of our terrible draw shot challenge score. I don't know what the maximum is, but we are close to it.
Yeah. Carrie was trying to explain to me how the draw shot doesn't matter in a 3-way tie.
It does when there's not a clear head-to-head winner. And it matters if it's 3 spots. If it's a 3-way tie for 1 spot, then I'm not exactly sure what they do here because there's only 1 draw for tiebreakers. They might actually just give it to the best draw shot challenge at that point because you can't play 2 tiebreaker draws. When there's when it's a 3-way tie for 2 spots, they give the 1 slot to the best draw shot challenge, and then the other 2 play off for the last spot. So
I think that's what happened last year. Actually, there was a playoff, and I think it was that 3-way scenario.
Yep.
And there was a really, I can't remember what it was, but there was a really down team. It wasn't having a good weekend that had an amazing upset, and it forced that. So where are we with this game?
Well, right now we've got a couple of center guards and squad without hammer, which is Dubberstein. They've got a big chance at getting under some staggered guards and getting a solid force. Am I incorrect in who has hammer here? Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is hammer. It belongs to Dubberstein, so they're trying to peel off the center and roll for a corner guard. Try to open up the middle a little bit. Another option here would be to draw under and set up your deuce by drawing to the top 8 foot. But in the first end, it's very reasonable to take the more conservative route and you know, just protect your ability to not get stolen on, essentially. Because if you try to come around in the top 8 foot and you end up in the back tee line, it's a really bad spot. Now they got staggered centers and backing, and they make that freeze, and you're in real trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. A lot of times, you don't see it a lot at this level, but in the club level, you see a lot of blow-up first ends.
Yep.
I suffer from that a lot.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
Was that magic, how you got a beer?
Yes, I've summoned it.
Let me see if I can try it. I am going to summon.
Use those brain powers.
I'm going to summon a whiskey.
Ooh, one whiskey.
One whiskey.
What's your whiskey of choice?
I'll see. I like a lot. I really like Jameson is what I usually drink here. It's probably not good for me to have a Jameson because I haven't had anything to eat. And but that's all right.
We'll loosen this up.
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah.
All right, so we have a slide through the rings. Now we have 2 options here. We can come under, or we can play a tick and try to get both of these onto the rings, which is what she's looking at. Set up your deuce that way. Also opens up the middle, even if you don't make it perfect. If you end up if you end up with only one of their yellow rocks in the rings, the red is still kind of forced to hit. This could be the riskier of the 2 calls, because again, if you come behind the tee line, there's the center guard and the backing.
What do you think?
It's tough to tell from our angle exactly how far out of the rings that yellow one is. Maybe it's not as splittable as it looks.
Yeah, here, I'll see if I can get it loaded up here. Is that it? Yep, that's it. We can't, oh yeah, you can see it just on the corner on the front of the TV.
Let it work.
So Cora used to skip her own team.
That's true.
And this year, they combined these teams, which seems that could be very powerful, I would think.
My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, she certainly has the skill set to make all the shots.
Yep.
And, you know, having the skipping experience.
And the strategy, I would think.
Exactly. Is a very good, it's always good to have a foil at the skip position, you know, somebody who can direct strategy, but anytime there's, you know, maybe a moment to deviate, right? So a different
Give
opinion.
alternatives, perhaps?
Yeah. And it's nice to have that foil be someone that you really have confidence in.
Hard! Go, go, go! Hard!
Ooh. Just not quite.
Sure!
So a reasonably open deuce setup here.
What do you think for weight? About the same?
Okay, that's okay. Yeah.
Probably trying to keep this one near the top of the 8 foot. If you come to the tee line, it's a pretty textbook hit off the top 12 one and roll for corner froze or maybe a double there. The higher you keep this rock, the harder Red's next shot is going to be.
Line is good, all you.
But there's very little risk in this end for Dubberstein
Ow! Ow!
at this point.
Ow! 4-5, 4. Make it good!
Team 3.
The little mic flip up is pretty nice for having a drink.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Whoa, honest.
I don't want to, you know, flaunt my beverage to the fans here.
Well,
Take this one.
that's all right.
Double is, yeah, it's like.
This is kind of a big shot coming up.
I think we play it this way.
There's a few good ways to make it, because yellow came a little bit too buried, I think, in my opinion. Not that that's where they were trying to go. I think they were trying to be a little more open. But because they came that buried, now if yellow does make the double, the red one is kind of stuck behind there a little bit, which then makes life difficult back for Anne-Marie.
So you're saying that if she hits and rolls over there?
If she makes the double,
Yeah.
right, the way the spin is going to be going on the red stone, it'll probably spin up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it'll be half buried under that corner guard.
Okay.
If the yellow draw that they had just thrown, if Cora's draw had been more open,
Yep.
then they're still going to be playing the same shot. They're never going to go after that one on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was more open, then the result of red's shot when they make it, if they make it,
Yeah.
is that it is more open,
open.
and your shot back is
I got it.
Yeah.
The I just wanted to see how deep your brain went. That was really deep.
I try to find the next level always. Sometimes it hurts me, honestly.
Eddie roll.
I go a little bit too deep for my own good sometimes, but
All right.
As long as you play fast. So
I try.
Play this side yet. So
My dad is famously slow. Hopefully he's not listening. He would fight me.
it was fun. Yeah, I was probably totally sure what that
where are you from again?
I'm originally from Fairbanks, Alaska. My team is from Seattle. I live there now. I've been there for about 10 years.
So do you curl in the granite?
That's correct.
Yep.
Yep.
More to bury under and
Yep.
possibly get fruit.
Are you curling in the Lupus Spiel out there? Are you a celebrity skip?
Regan approached me today about doing that. I may have a scheduling commitment, but if I don't, then I would be happy to do that. That sounds like an awesome tournament.
Super fun.
Yeah,
At least the one that's
and
here is.
the way that she's promoting it is very cool. Just like let's go have fun. I love the pro-am vibe.
She told me, I asked her about it yesterday, I think, and she said that it turns out, which is totally understandable, that in Seattle, people want more out-of-town skips. Like that, those are more celebrity-ish to them.
I think that's generally true.
Yep.
Yeah. The vibe in
And that's an expensive proposition, getting all those.
exactly, and it can obviously turn out great, but you put a lot of risk into that sort of investment.
I missed it.
Is this going to run deep on them?
Okay.
That worked.
I think they're okay.
Good.
That's a good spot. Good spot.
Sorry.
That virtually assures them a deuce in the first end, which is a very strong position.
Do you want to roll or anything, or do you just want to?
I'm so bored.
Like,
You said that.
yes, I did.
Roll. I mean,
It's a long
I'm
roll.
trying to roll. It is a long roll. I mean, to here, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bad thing.
I found out that I was pronouncing Kelly's name wrong. Kelly Schneider.
It is. There's no H.
Yeah, it's Snyder.
Snyder.
Yeah, because she said, I talked to Cora about Kelly because Kelly was on earlier and we were talking about Alaska and drilling and all sorts of cool things. And she was excited for this match because she said another Fairbanks, and she's the one that recommended you.
Thanks, Kelly.
But she says,
I know you can't. But,
bah ha 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 ha,
it again.
hashtag
Make the
Ron
stone go
Berklet.
away.
Yeah, that's my dad.
Or,
That's your
we
dad.
have
He's the
to
slow bee.
probably under our red one. Okay.
He once played a 4-hour 10-end game at a men's state playdown.
Wow. So he's the reason why they have timers.
It's actually Steve Brown is the reason that they have timers.
Okay.
But
I think that they should have timers at this event
Dad would give him a run for
of
his
some sort. I don't know how you could do it. It wouldn't need all that equipment and all those volunteers.
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm not a huge fan of the timing myself, but I understand that it's necessary.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to tell people that it shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, no one abuses the fact that there's not a time clock, right? But
Well, definitely in this event, I noticed that there's a lot of thinking time. There's a lot of. Let's
and
talk about it.
Kind of got burned. I think it was the 2 o'clock draw today. There was a game that lasted almost 3 hours.
Yep.
An 8-end game.
Yep. It was right here.
Yeah, it was the one on stream.
Yeah.
And then they went to an extra.
Yep.
Right, and so it's even more. And then that delayed sheet 4 and sheet 6, and that was a problem. But other than that, it seemed pretty good.
Well, when you're doing the commentary here,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that we have to do this, although it won't be a problem.
Okay.
What ends up happening is you're on this sheet, so we're at sheet 5, and then
Mine is good.
it ends, and then you go to whatever the next one is.
Yep.
So you're always calling the longest game because you're going around and you're like, oh, let's get the last one because there's always
Absolutely.
there could be people on here and you're flipping it, so they
Bonus
all
coverage.
feel long to me.
Yeah, every draw takes a while. Not necessarily every single individual game, but
sorry, Ted.
being in the booth, you're going to go until the last game is done, right? So, yeah, I understand that it feels longer for sure.
Steven, your dad and sister are playing doubles on Mondays. She's worried. And Mike Barrett just texted me, and he said the Barretts agree that this event needs timers. So I'm going to sign up the entire Barrett family to be timers. Because
Congratulations, Barretts.
Yeah, that is a thankless
I'll drink
job.
to that.
Yeah. Well, you're the only one with beer. My magic trick hasn't worked yet.
You need more mana to cast your spells of summoning, of whiskey summoning.
I haven't proved myself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
before the gods.
There you go. So Anne-Marie with her clean draw for 2, a nice, easy first end. And we're probably going to see a relatively conservative approach from her in the second. Kim will get aggressive from the position of being behind.
All right. Barrett family has agreed, if they're not curling, that they will time. We only need about 50 more.
Yeah, right.
87.
There should be literal chess clocks out there with like
big ones.
A physical button that you push when your team is done shooting, you know? That makes it harder on the thinking time aspect of things, but
yeah, the thing too is like I was thinking like I wonder if there could be some sort of like just the game can't be longer than this. But then you don't really know who caused the delay, so then if you're ahead, like
if you're playing fast and your opponents are playing slow, that punishes the people who are playing fast.
Yeah.
It also you run into a situation where you might not be sure how many ends you're going to be playing in the 6th end, and then that affects what decision you might make. So you want the game to be pure, or as pure as you can be. But
over on sheet 3, there's a very interesting matchup. Craig Brown versus Andrew Stapera.
Okay.
So Stapera's coach is lead on Brown's squad. Laser is Mark Lazar.
Oh, funny.
And his dad
is the third.
Is the third.
Yeah.
And so they were having fun. Oh, well, look at this. Thank you. Yeah. If anybody's wondering why the scoreboard is behind, because
we've gotten our Jameson.
We've got our Jameson.
And
cheers.
A nice healthy pour as well, I might add. Cheers, Chris.
4, 5. What she said.
That matchup on sheet 3 you were talking about, Craig Brown versus Andrew Stapera, they are playing for a playoff spot. They're both 2-1.
Oh, both of them are.
Yeah, they're both 2-1. The winner of that game goes to 3-1, and the loser is almost assuredly eliminated. Craig kept their hopes alive by coming back from a 6-0 deficit earlier today.
Yeah, versus Dale Gibb.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, I felt kind of bad because Dale's played really well. I've watched.
He's had a lot of close games.
Yeah, he's been a really close game, and that one, to have that one slip away is probably.
He's going to want that one back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have another matchup of 2-1 teams on sheet 4. Todd Burr versus Croy Nurnberger. I think, if I'm not mistaken, those are the teams that got 3rd and 4th at Nationals last year, I think.
13-5.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know.
I think so.
Who watches Nationals?
Me, I do.
Yeah, I think most of us do. I just
with
don't
a fervor.
I just don't remember it all.
That's fair. So we have a classic start here with to this end anyway, with a 2-point lead. You have the first one on the tee line, the corner guard goes up, another one top 12 or tight, and then the come around you see. It went a little bit deep, so it's 3rd shot. So Kim is going to have to deal with that one in the top 12 at some point if she wants to bring her number 2 rock into play. Anne-Marie going for the guard here to put a lot of pressure on. I like this call a lot.
Coming down.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to remove all those for sure.
Last year, you would have seen the peel on the corner guard in this situation. And this is one of the things I really love about the 5-rock rule is even with a 2-point lead, every end is still curling. You know, back in the day, or last year,
Back in the good old days.
I would say the bad old days, honestly. This 5-rock rule is, I'm a huge fan. I think it changes the game for the better in a massive way. Every game is interesting. You know, I mean, we've seen multiple 6-point comebacks this weekend. And even today.
That would never have happened.
2 today, you know, and you can generate 3s because the team can't peel out. So what that forces the team with the lead to do is be aggressive with the lead. And when you're aggressive, that incurs risk, you know, and then you end up, if the team without the hammer makes every shot, you're in good shape. Now you might see the peel happen.
I kind of like that, actually, though.
I'm glad she's not playing it because her position is so advantageous.
Very strong.
Yeah, she's got a chance to put the clamps down on this one. It is difficult to put the guard in a spot where you don't give a double peel back. But that being said, then you're back at the position you were at on your last shot. You know, you've got the guard. They went through. You go the guard. They make the double. Now you've made parity over the course of 2 shots.
Yeah, it seems like if she gets that in there, assuming that the other team makes their shots, it's going to take at least 2 shots to clean that up.
Yeah.
So you have space to replace.
And one of the things that I think people don't think about enough, she's definitely heavy.
A little deep.
They're already around it. Probably just want this one in the back 8-foot at this point. All right. I mean, that's not too bad. It's not the best, but all your rocks are in a line, so there's not a lot of doubles. There's not a lot of profitable things that Kim can do on this shot. She's relatively behind in the end, and there's not a great way for her to catch up other than playing this freeze. And even if she does make the freeze, the scoring area is so small that it's very unlikely she's going to end up with a deuce from the end. But one of the things that I think teams don't think about enough is the kinds of pressure you can put on opponents. And, you know, they worry about what you want to think about what you leave the other team, but you don't want to think about it too much. You know, there's something to be said for making them make something, right? If you play too conservatively all the time, their shots are going to be easier, and they're more likely to make them.
I do like that about curling, just in my meager curling. I like the there's an emotional aspect of it that you can start feeling like, am I pressuring them?
Yeah.
Are they pressuring me?
Right.
Am I following them, or are they following me?
Yep.
And then you can get big shots that demoralize the other team.
Right.
Or you can get, and then you got to come over. It's like,
yeah. And there's I play a lot of games, and
do you play Risk?
I did when I was younger. Most of
you meant curling games, right?
No, I mean board games.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I play a lot of board games. And
I like board games.
And card games and things like that.
You ever play Smear?
I haven't played that one.
My family game.
I played poker a lot back in the day. A lot of European card game or European board games these days. But there's a big, you know, there's a lot of value on initiative. And I think that in a situation like this where Anne-Marie on her last shot called for the guard, they obviously came deep, which wasn't where they wanted it to be, but they have the initiative in this end.
Yep.
And there's a lot of value in maintaining that and making it so that the other team has to catch up to your initiative, rather than in a situation where you have the initiative, conceding it back to the opponent and giving them the, you know, letting them off the hook a little bit, right? Yes, it is quote unquote safer, but also you're not going to get the huge benefit. For instance, if they had peeled that corner guard a couple of shots ago, you know, they would have left a freeze or a hit and roll opportunity, and to maybe let all of the pressure off of Kim's team.
Yeah, because then it becomes more of an exchange.
Right.
It's like, you did that, now I do this.
Obviously, when you start an end without the hammer, your goal is to force the other team to take one. But they have a good opportunity to steal here with a very low risk chance of giving up the deuce. Most of the time, when you go to steal, you know, you're risking giving up a deuce because there's rocks in play and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, you need the rocks that can give up the deuce.
Exactly.
There.
To get the steal.
Yeah.
But they're in a situation here where they can press the steal without the risk of the deuce, and that's a really good opportunity to put that guard in play and do that.
Can you do that? See how Cora is sliding down with one foot on the ice and the other one 2 feet up in the air?
I can do that.
Can you?
Yeah.
I doubt
I've fallen down a time or two, but
You're too tall. You need to be short. You need to have a low center of gravity.
but see,
I could not do that.
I have lanky limbs, and so I'm like a trapeze artist, you know?
Hey, do you ever have problems with the hacks here?
I do, actually. It's hit me a couple of times it's fine for almost every shot, but when I've played like a big weight peel, it gets me.
Who's the Swiss guy? Markey or Dominic Markey. He was on the sheet and he was saying that surprised him. And yeah, here it's so short.
Yeah.
Remember, I was talking to somebody who said some people that curl here a lot, taller people, actually use that. They know it's there, so they can actually push off of it.
Oh man,
I can't reach it.
That's
just for the record.
That's a tough thing to do.
That's useful.
But for me, when I slide out with a peel, I usually don't put my foot all the way back there during my pullback. But what happens is when I push forward, my slider slips a little bit, and my back leg goes and hits the backboard. And I've missed, I think I missed 3 out of my 4 big peel weight shots this week because maybe not because of that, but it felt like.
Yeah, I mean anything that just messes you up a little bit.
Right. And it's right in that critical moment of I'm driving at the broom, and it's something that tweaks you. And, it's definitely a factor that.
It's unique to this club.
It is very unique to this club. I've never played it.
Well, we're not going to rebuild the club for you.
Kind of in between.
I'm disappointed by that, to be honest.
I bet
the world does revolve around me, obviously.
Yeah, in your mind it does.
Yeah, everyone knows this.
Well, I mean, that's we don't even know. I might not even exist.
It's all a simulation.
Yes, could be.
Yeah, just ask Elon.
Yeah. Elon. I wonder. Have you heard what happened with the SEC with Elon?
No, I haven't heard it.
Have you heard
that
they
were
were
big fine? But
so he ended up getting a fine. So he tweeted. Apparently, he tweeted that he felt like that Tesla should, privatize.
Okay.
And he said, I think the board should pay. I don't know how much their stock is, but $40 a share. And he owns the most of it, and he's on chairman of the board.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the price all just went up to that amount. He moved the market.
Wow.
And so the SEC was like, well, you can't do that. That's
Little time.
Interesting.
I
didn't know
so
anything about
they
that.
wanted to remove him, and then they're talking about a settlement. And I don't know what happened.
Crazy. That's amazing that one man has so much power over the market share.
He's crazy. He's crazy smart, but he's just crazy. I mean, he's just out there.
Yeah.
Which I think I probably would be too if I were, in the multiple billions.
Well, yeah.
Just the multiple. If I had just 1 billion.
But the thing is, I think honestly, it takes that personality to get to that point.
Yeah.
I don't think that you or I could be a billionaire necessarily, unless we just won 45 lotteries in a row.
Who could be a billionaire?
And 45 lotteries in a row doesn't even get you there. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I really think that after a while, I might just give up making money and do something else. If I was on the path to be a billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually had a dream the other day. I have a small company. It's called Terrapin Technologies. And I had a dream that I sold it for a significant amount of money. I don't know how much money it is, but I do know that I donated in my dream $5 million to the St. Paul Curling Club Foundation.
Nice.
And then with that money, they rebuilt this club into a super club.
They added 3 inches to both hacks.
yeah. And they added a brewery as well.
Nice.
In this dream. So
that's the real dream.
Maybe that'll happen. If that happens, though, then I think then my life will be complete.
Perfect. Well, let's hope for that.
Yeah.
6 is gonna stay near the 4.
Back to the game here.
Yeah.
Kim has a pretty reasonable chance.
Getting 2 if they can double that up.
Yeah, Anne-Marie's guard curled up on her a little bit too much. They were trying to touch the center line to guard this double. But now Kim has it. It's a straight back double. There's a way to make it to kind of tuck her red one under the yellow guard, too. I think she's close.
Yeah, it's coming down.
It's very, very close.
And Harden is sweeping it. Trying to hold the line. Oh, and they just tick off the guard or the 12 foot.
That's a bad break because she was very, very close to making that shot. And then now Anne-Marie has a really good chance. There's a lot of places she can put this stone that are quite good.
Yeah.
Basically anywhere on the center line from like a 2.5 guard all the way right down to frozen on her shot stone. Anywhere in that range is great. This is another spot where you have a really good chance to put the screws to them. Theoretically, you could put it in a spot that makes a triple possible. But in all honesty, if someone's throwing a triple against 3, I'm kind of okay with them taking that chance.
It would be nice to be third.
And there you see Cora say, you know, it'd be nice to be third, but priority is let's touch the center line.
Yeah. Which we did this way, so.
So did sheet 3, did they blank the end?
They haven't hung the score. I will say that Andrew's team has been notoriously bad all weekend about hanging the score, because I've been watching those guys because Luke and Ben are from our club in Granite, so I'm kind of pulling for them a little bit. Luke Violette.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah. He's a good player.
He's
you talk about passion for the game.
Not fine player. I'm not going to judge. I mean, he's a good player, but we had him commentate. Those two commentate last time. And they are those two are great, but Luke has got a really good, sharp, quick. When he's in the hack, like when he's talking to Andrew, I just love his judgments.
That's a great relationship. We were talking about Skip third foil. They have different minds for the game, and it's very it's very refreshing to see all of that, especially from a young team.
Yep.
Those guys are if they can somehow manage to stay together, that's going to be a force to be reckoned with in 5-10 years.
Even in touch force, yeah. Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but are they still juniors this year?
Yes.
Yeah, this is their last year as a full team. Andrew Age is out after this one. Yeah. I mean, that team, they could win the world championship, right? They lost in the finals to Korea. It was a great game. They lost by a quarter of an inch, maybe. Do we have another chance here?
Was it in Korea?
It was. Yes, Korea was the host.
So then that would probably be about a centimeter.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I forget the conversion. Quarter inch would be 5 centimeters.
No, centimeters that big, right?
2.2 centimeters is an inch.
Yeah, so a quarter centimeter.
A quarter inch. It would be 0.5 centimeters. 5 millimeters.
Well, no, 5 millimeters is like that. So 2.5. So 250.
Easy,
250.
Easy, look. Look.
What do you do for a living?
Put the whiskey down.
Yeah, what do you do for a living? Why are we having a problem with this?
Well,
50% would be 1.125, or no, 1.25 centimeters.
Well,
so a quarter would be 0.75.
If it's 2.2 centimeters to an inch.
Oh, 2.2.
2.2.
So 1.1
so
would be half.
1.1 is half an inch.
Yeah, so then it would be like 0.55.
0.55.
Yeah.
Nice.
Half a centimeter.
Half a centimeter.
It's just really fast down that path. Now, I could have probably
does your team do this? Do you huddle?
No, we do not huddle.
Really fast. Okay, let's score 2.
Yeah.
We do not huddle, we cuddle.
Oh, I like that.
Is what the team is yelling from behind here.
Yeah. So let's try and get your corner guard a little tighter to the rings. If we can.
I would say that we huddle basically only if a game goes to extras or if it's a 1-point game going to the 8th end.
Yeah.
Everything else is we pretty much know what our plan is. Me and Sam and Matt have been playing together for about 4 years, so we have a pretty good understanding of each other's brains and what we plan on doing and what we like to do. And
so what happened down here?
I'm a terrible terrible commentator, and I didn't see
2.
a steal of 2.
Yeah,
So
steal
a
it.
steal of 2.
Like to go a bit.
That happens all the time with me. Just don't worry about it. It's late.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the fans. That's my job. I let them down.
All right, well, you should dwell on that and think about how you can improve yourself.
I will. I'm always thinking about how I can improve myself, and this is a very clear opportunity to do so.
So while this game starts, I'm just going to run from left to right just to say who's playing.
Okay.
So on sheet 1, it's Brundage and
Okay.
Ronan.
Yep.
Rohonen.
Current lead is belongs to Ruinen. It is 3-2. They are up 1 with the hammer, playing 4.
All right. Sheet 2 is Workin versus Smith.
I thought you were
It's
And-
Evan Workin's mixed team, which is cooler than cool.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Smith is currently up 1 without playing 4, so Workin has the hammer down 1.
I bet he loves being in the spoiler role. Or not this. Well, I guess that's.
He's not actually. Smith is the spoiler role.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He probably likes that, knowing him a little bit.
Okay.
So it's like even.
So sheet 3 is Stopera versus Brown.
And
Or
we still-
as people apparently call him Brownie.
Sure.
I don't call him that, though.
We're
Stopera
calling
versus
Pot
Brown.
Brownie. Is that okay?
Bobby Brown?
Pot Brownie.
All right. I'm interested. And
We
that's
still have no score hung from the first end.
So sheet 4 is Burr versus Nürnberger.
Yep, Burr's up 3-0.
Burr's is curling really well this weekend. He's blown a couple teams out,
9-5.
or at least one, I know.
9-3.
Yeah, and then sheet 6 is Flannery versus Pottinger.
And Pottinger is playing the second end. They are up 1 without.
So there's Regan
time I got.
rushing the Yellowstone to glory.
Not perfect. Get a little further
So much
over.
glory.
Yep.
Glorious. They're making a nice shot right now, too.
Yeah.
Bite the top 4. Sit 1, 2, 3, 4. Flannery is going to have a very difficult draw against 4. Probably an intern through the port.
It was curling so much.
It's a tight one.
Oh,
It's a tough spot.
2, 2, 3.
Unfortunately, here we've seen Kim's.
Is
Is it Ann Harden? I thought
Yep.
her name was Amy.
Mine's good.
Oh, I could have it wrong.
Yep.
I'll tell you the answer.
Yep. Yep. Keep it going. Yep. Hard. Get it close. Yep. Hard. Go, go, go.
You are right.
Yes!
Amy. I'm sorry, Amy.
It is Amy Harden.
You know, and actually, I think that last year when they curled,
Yeah.
she was really feisty when I mic'd the team
I
up,
think
and I
Kev-
liked that.
like up to it.
We've got a little bit.
Heavy.
So Kelly says, "Oh, I've been wondering about the mixed team. Is it not gendered? Is it not gendered pools?" Well, the answer is it actually is. They got kind of an exception because they're working. They're going to Worlds. They're actually leaving on Thursday to go to Worlds, so they're playing in the men's side. And then Brian Anderson said, "Who's commentating? Is that Steve Berklid?" No, it's Stephen Berklid.
Yes. Way to go, Chris. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Good looking out.
You know, I don't know Brian, but I'm going to talk about him a little bit. I don't know the difference between, okay, a guy at work, between envious and jealous. A guy at work always says, is what you're going to do going to make my wife want you more than me? And that's how he determines it. And so, let's see, that would make it,
I'm the wrong person to talk
He's
to about
envious,
this.
but whatever.
Okay.
But Brian has all these pictures on Facebook about all this woodworking stuff he does.
Oh, nice.
And I've just recently, in the last couple of years, started getting into woodworking, and I just look at, he's got all this, he's got a nice shop and everything. So, Brian, I'm jealous.
I wasn't expecting them
All right,
to do
fair
that.
And I like he's got all these odd colored drawers in the front of his wood cabinet.
I have a 70.
Okay. Well, good for Brian and his woodworking.
So Brian says to you, either way, you're hired for mixed.
Okay. I don't know when that happens,
Yeah.
but
And he also says that I get a 5% cut.
you get a 5% cut?
Yeah, because I hooked up the deal.
Oh, congratulations, Chris.
Yeah. And Kelly says P-Teven. I don't know what that means.
It's probably PH Teven.
Teven?
Steven.
Teven.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell a weird story.
All right. That's what I'm all about
yeah.
on this podcast.
That's good.
Back,
I like that a
did
lot.
she make this draw against 4? No, it slipped through. Oh, that's a bummer. So Padger's going to steal 3 over there on sheet 6. But back to the weird story, which everybody very clearly wants to hear because I have established already the world revolves around me.
Yeah. The world revolves around Steven.
Yes.
Similar to the world according to Garp.
Close, yeah.
I actually, you seem a lot like that character.
I've never seen that movie.
4, 5.
Or
I don't know
TV
anything.
show
I just
or
think the
whatever
character's
that
probably
was.
weird. Anyway, so tell me the story.
So we're back at juniors, years and years ago,
Okay.
Is that your
like
second?
2001,
Yep. Yep.
2.
Hard.
No, it would have been
All the way. Go all
even
the way
earlier
back.
than
Yep.
that, 2000.
All the way back. Yep.
Oh, yeah. that's
And
wrong.
I think it was in Wapaka, Wisconsin. And Wapaka. And I was playing on the team from Alaska, along with Kelly, and Jess Schultz,
Probably could have just let her
and
do that in the first place.
Liz Odell, and oh geez, I don't remember who their league was. I forget.
It sounds like you have too many people.
But
Yeah, sure.
well, I wasn't on their
Just
team.
give me
Oh,
third eyes.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I
our
like
team
this
was
way. Okay.
me and Colin Huffman, who's
So
now the
that's a
second on
9, right?
Ronin's team, and Chris Benshoff, Martin Sather, and Leo Johnson. So we had a 5-man team. And one day, we were all playing Halo in the hotel room, and it was 4 in the morning, and we had an 8 a.m. game the next day, and we were just sleep deprived, and everything was the funniest that it's ever been in our lives. And I think it was Colin who mentioned, he goes, "You know what, guys? Just thought of something. If you change the first letter of Martin's name to an F,
Try and get here.
his name's Fartin."
Okay.
What? Just T-way fed point.
And then we laughed.
Brilliant.
We laughed for an hour, and
Yeah.
it's comedic genius, honestly.
Yeah, brilliant. Is
And,
that why? Isn't your Twitter handle?
Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the girls thought that was hilarious because then we did it for everybody, and mine was Steven.
Where is it?
And
It's a little bit juvenile.
it's a very, and we were at the time, we were.
It's kind of like that like Bobby, Bama, Dana, Bana, Fofana,
Yeah,
da, da.
something like, yeah, exactly.
Steven.
Steven.
Um,
And then there was also some meme on somebody posted and said, "I went to Starbucks, and I told them my name was Steven with a PH, and they spelled it PHTEVEN."
I like the run. I think that's easier.
PHTEVN. Steven.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't have any of it.
Brian says
And the run is just
mixed doubles
no.
nationals,
You don't think we can just
late
halfway?
February, early
I
March.
don't think I can get
Yeah,
to
game.
it with
I'm
that
in.
weight.
Unless I'm winning the
The
tournament,
run.
which I won't.
Yeah.
Oh, so Mike Barrett at home
Yeah.
listening, he used your little thing.
Wait.
Mike Barrett,
Oh yeah,
Fike Ferret.
perfect.
Yep.
A Fike ferret.
So
I mean, everybody loves a Fike ferret.
Of course you weren't. Kelly says, and they weren't drinking.
We were not drinking. No.
Honestly, I would say if you were playing Halo at 4 in the morning, I wouldn't be drinking either.
Honestly, I would have thought that it would take some drinks to get to Halo at 4 in the morning.
Hard!
Hello.
Core's a little tight here.
Hard!
We're probably not going to make this run. Nope.
That's good.
This software that I think Brian's written all this software for this. It's really between that and Curling Zone, it's a great time saver. So they've done a great job, and it's really nice to have that.
Yeah.
Glad somebody wrote it, and I didn't have to write it.
I can't do that. I can't do that at all.
Gave it some.
7.
I might be
is
able to
good.
write it if I didn't
5
have
is fine.
a family,
5 is fine.
a job,
Whoa, why are we sweeping?
if I curled, any of those things.
It's here.
0 out of 3 ain't bad, though,
15.
Chris.
I could probably manage the software team to write it, though.
Yeah.
Yep, go hard. Yep, go hard. Get
Kim
ready,
looking
man.
pretty good for her
Go,
deuce
go,
back.
Go, 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 go.
Get her back in the game here.
Steven, I'm glad that you brought us back to curling.
Yeah. It is why we're here after all.
Yep.
I thought it was about the whiskey and the beer,
I thought it was about talking about you, but
I was like, nice.
you know,
Just like came right on over
you're
there.
right.
have you ever caught a salmon?
And went right over
Yeah.
there.
I don't think I have. Oddly,
Yeah, that's disappointing.
I'm not a big Fisher guy.
I thought that Alaskans like.
They are. You know what? I'm an export for a reason. I couldn't hack it up there. You know. Alaska's it is a great place to be a young child, and it is a great place to have young children. But it is not a great place to be if you don't love outside. And I don't love outside.
Brian is throwing a little smack down here. He says he has all those things that I mentioned. And I have seen a lot of pictures of his daughter, and he looks like he has a lot of fun. And I have a daughter around the same age, but he says Andy also has woodwork. So, I'm sorry, Brian, you're
4 out of 3.
He's better than me.
Well, you know, we are who we are.
Yeah, I wonder, though, one thing that I'm good at is drinking challenges.
Okay.
All right.
I think here.
So I don't know anything about Brian's drinking ability, but I once did
How many Jamesons have you had tonight,
19
Brian?
shots of tequila at 5-minute intervals.
19 at 5.
Yeah, I tried when I was in my 20s. I tried to recreate, tried to recreate that scene from Raiders. It was a Raiders of the Lost Ark where Indy goes to this bar in like Siberia, and his love interest is doing shots with, and they like, and I'm like, God, that'd be really cool to do that until somebody like falls off the table.
It's gotta be Raiders, because I just watched The Last Crusade on a plane like 3 weeks ago, and it was not that one.
Well, that was one of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life because I could have died.
I'm gonna disagree with you.
And I had vertigo after it
because
for
it gave us
a year and a half.
Well, okay. I mean, consequences to actions. We all know this.
All right, but back to the game.
Close.
Kim with her first. Hitting to sit 2. As long as they're careful and don't oversweep, which it looks like they're fine.
Yes, any roll.
You know what's sad about that shot?
What's
is that we were talking through the whole thing, and I have no idea how they got to that point where they're sitting a split house like that.
This end?
Yep.
So a while back there was just a corner guard on the left side. It was about a foot in front of the rings, and Kate Dubberstein. I saw the second half of her shot. It was either a hit and roll or a draw. I believe it was a hit and roll, and she rolled underneath the guard to be dead buried, and then Cora missed the run back, peeled it off, and then Kate with her second one split the rings. Anne-Marie hit it for the nose, or rolled a little bit to the center, I mean, and then Kim with her first made that small hit and roll to get that split ring shot. So that's how we got to where we're at.
Brian says that he's not a drinking professional. Slow and steady. Yes! Joe doesn't let him drink and produce, even though I want to and needs to sometimes.
Don't we all?
I've seen a picture of the setup in Nationals, and I've looked at this. I'm not quite sure how he hooks it up, but Brian's got this square box that's got all these colored buttons on it.
Yeah.
And he must have it all automated to do stuff.
He must.
Like mute mics and do different things.
I'm super not technical at that. That's my wife was in HBN when she was in high school, and she knows a lot more about broadcasting than I do.
Matt,
I just talk about myself.
Matt, Matt,
who's this guy?
Matt just said, "Wow, way to bring it back to curling, guys." He's sitting right behind us. You can watch the game if you want.
He's 3 feet behind us. I appreciate that he acknowledges the great job we're doing.
Yeah.
I think we're doing it. Bringing this full circle.
Yeah, but I don't think that we'll be hired anywhere. Maybe
I disagree.
Maybe a comedy club.
I think the offers are going to come flooding in.
Yep.
Oh, easy, clean.
Close. Close. Just close.
What?
No.
So Brian says that he has 2 of these
clean.
blinky boxes, and that he mostly
Nice shot, Kim.
That's nice.
I'm going to interrupt you.
That's
talk
right.
about curling.
It is very nice. We had 2. He
Deuce.
says he mostly runs it on an Xbox controller.
No kidding.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I want to know, like, I think that...
I want to go through a technical training session.
Yeah, I do have a client. I think they're in Rochester, and I have a client in Rochester And
Same exact
I'm
weight.
trying to build. There's a certain thing that they do, certain market. I'm concentrating a lot of my internal resources on it. So I'm going to go out to Rochester to visit this client and interrogate them to try to figure out some knowledge. And I was thinking about trying to time it around a time where I could go and maybe see what they actually do. Because their AV setup in their club, from what I look at, is really good too. But you know, I just see it remotely.
Right.
All right, that's enough. That's enough ass kissing, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah. But I do appreciate all the work that Brian does.
Three's good.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
This is the first time I've seen them play.
All right. I anticipate that we'll see double centers here. Down 2 without. Go really, really hard for the force. Maybe get a good chance to steal.
2. Okay, keep it going. 2.
I'll be interested to see if Anne-Marie decides to
2, 3.
play the tick up 2 or if she just comes right into the rings.
2, 1, 2.
Do you think that on the, like, so this is really my first exposure to the 5 rock rule this weekend. So I've been really thinking about, like, what it means. And at first I was like, oh, well, if you're behind and you don't have the hammer, it's really good for you.
It's not.
I mean, if you have the hammer.
If you have the
Yeah,
hammer,
if you
yes.
hammer.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
then I've kind of, it's like, it's really, if you're just scored upon, it's really good for you.
It can be. It rarely explicitly comes into play. We were talking about this earlier today. And if it's like a 1-point game, you know, teams aren't ripping that peel with their seconds first very often, you know. And most games are pretty close like this. But in a 2-point game, you're going to see that rip on that peel pretty early and just make sure that you don't ever give up 3. And now it's going to stick around just barely. Now you see
Did I? Oh my god.
teams with the hammer
Shoot, I'm sorry.
and a 1-point deficit.
They call this gripper gate.
Yes. The gripper switcher.
Yeah. Sometimes you can see Kim, she'll dance around in the house.
And the 13-8. I thought you were like a 3 or 4.
So as here we have the double centers going up, ignoring the one on the side. Obviously, if this was a 1-point game, they might consider hitting that one on the side. Maybe not, even down 1 without. They're really in a disadvantageous position here, and they need to put pressure on Dubberstein's team. And the only way to do that is with double centers.
So if you don't have the hammer and you have the lead,
yes.
Yep. Go down. 15, 7, 5. Yep.
is there any, like, do you think there's any specific strategy that's the best strategy?
That's good.
You know, like,
Nice.
you don't have it, so you do.
We might have to draw it as a 10 for now.
That's the cool thing about the 5 rock rule, and what I like.
What do you think
It's
about
early
drawing
in the
for
stages,
now?
you know.
Yeah,
and
we
so,
don't know all.
Yeah, and so it's unexplored territory. It's not really solved yet. You know, 5 years ago, basic strategy without the hammer was kind of solved in 1-point, 2-point, 3-point games.
Yep.
And now that we're in the 5 rock rule, and really no lead is safe.
If we pick the card, that's good.
You see a lot of teams trying to find a way to still be conservative, find a way to get to the peel out stage of the end. And I don't think that works. That's my personal opinion. I think that teams without the hammer need to be more aggressive. You know, if you're up 1 or 2 and you go, let's say you're up 2 and you go top 12, they go corner, you go tight, they go corner. If you throw another tight guard, and if you throw a 1, now you've got 1 rock, top 4, buried under 2 centers, and if your 1 guard is up there, it cuts off the path to both corners. That's how you make the double peel. You make the double peel by throwing a 1 guard. The problem is it's very, very difficult to do.
I just noticed on sheet 3, Brown and Stapera, they're in the 5th end, and it's no score.
It is 0-0.
Isn't that amazing?
Right, up.
And there's Dean Gemmel brushing like a
Bouse. Like a bouse.
like a mouse. He's gonna brush that right through.
Got it.
Oh, there's a post there. I'm trying to get them to remove some of these posts so I can see.
But then the roof would fall down and we wouldn't have curling anymore.
yeah, but then we could rebuild it. You could have the deeper
then they would
hacks.
come.
We're on this way.
They would come.
You're good. For saying she went up.
All right, Kelly, I'm going to get to your question in a bit. I feel like I got to concentrate a little bit on curling.
Okay. So
I mean, that's
the double
curling
centers went
question.
up, and Allison Howell tried for the free guard tick to get that one that's tight to the rings off the center line. Fortunately, she hit it a little bit too thick, bounced out, so it goes back. Now, Kim with a great chance with double centers to get one in the top 4. This rock looks a little bit tight on him.
That's her sister, I think. Katie throwing.
Yep, little tight. Yep. Yes.
They really need to get this one around, because if they
Not
rub
gonna
the guard,
happen.
you're going to end up with two corners.
Take it over a bit. Okay. Okay.
All right, they still have double centers, sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
They're staggered.
In that
but
last
one is
end,
run back.
they tried to do doubles on those, the line,
Yeah.
and they missed doubles twice.
These double peels aren't easy anymore now that the brooms have been standardized, and it's a lot more difficult to make the shot. Also,
You know, Steven,
I know they sanded the
they've
rocks.
never been that easy for me.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
They were getting very, very
Yeah, routine.
routine at the
Yep.
top levels.
Yeah.
But
What-
I know that like this weekend they sanded the rocks before this tournament, so the rocks are curling a lot even on peels, and that makes them difficult.
Yeah.
It's really tough when you can't just put the broom right where you want to hit it, because everybody's so good now at throwing that laser shot.
Yeah.
But when the rocks curl, no matter what you do, that makes it a lot tougher, and it's a guessing game a little bit. Almost made it real good.
So I have a podcast, and I interviewed Richie on it, and he had it was like a 3-hour interview.
Richie Ruohonen.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny. I can't still. Now I'm a little obsessed because there's a section where we're talking about how to pronounce his name, and then I was like, okay, Richie,
Wait, what's okay? Yeah, good.
you've been overemphasizing it. Just say it how it is. I'm
Yeah.
gonna record it, and I'll get it right. And I think it's Runen, not it's Rohonen, whatever. I still can't.
I
do
like
it.
to think of it as he's ruining everything.
Well, that's how we see those. You have to listen to the podcast because he says in it. He said there's a quote that I open up the podcast that said, "This curler is known as blah blah blah." And, the next thing he's doing is ruining your day or something like that.
Yep, perfect.
But that's not how you pronounce it. But he was saying we were talking about brooms and when that whole happened like 2 years ago or whatever. And he said if you notice,
Nice come around.
there's a lot more missed shots nowadays.
Yes.
Which is how it should be.
Yeah, 3 years ago it was, if you shot 92%, you were losing,
Yeah.
right? Now you shoot 83% and you're winning.
Yeah. Well, in Richie's case, he shoots 90%, and then with Colin Huffman, the best sweeper in
On
the
Earth.
United States of
No,
America.
on planet Earth, he's the best.
Yeah, according to he shoots 95%.
That's
I'm like,
it's fair.
yeah,
Yeah,
on the planet Earth.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe if you factor in physical ability and sweeping intelligence and like the ability to understand what the skip is thinking as the shot is happening and like know what to do before it's time to do it, Colin's the best.
Would you say you're an unbiased opinion?
No, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, Richie was saying that at the combine they like they have that special thing and they
Yep.
test it. And he said that Colin was
An
whatever
order-
number it is,
yeah.
it was like an order of magnitude.
He was
higher.
order of magnitude higher. He just understands how to get the job done. With
And I said, how do you know that whoever put together that thing knew what the heck they were doing? And he said, all I do, I check my bank balance, and that's the number I see, and I know that's right.
yeah.
But yeah,
And sure,
it's
those
pretty obvious that he's got the physical, the attribute, the way he
Right.
sweeps. He's a really good sweeper.
Yep. And let's not. I mean, that's no flack on Phil either. Like Phil's.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Phil's insane too.
15-2.
Yeah, but like Corey Dropkin is a really good sweeper.
Okay.
He puts a lot of effort into it.
That's true.
Yeah, and he was at that same combine, so that means that he was an order of magnitude higher than
Right.
Corey Dropkin.
Yeah.
Which
Which
blows my
may not
mind.
be in like sweeping effectiveness, quote unquote, but it was
it's
on
it's
pressure.
like a test.
It was on pressure. And part of the reason I think that Corey can't get as much pressure as Colin does,
He's shorter.
He sweeps with a gripper too.
Oh.
And he is shorter. That's a big deal because Colin has leverage.
Well, no,
Or Corey sweeps with a slider,
yeah,
right? And
Yeah.
Colin sweeps with two grippers.
yeah.
And
We talked all about this. Jeez.
Yeah, and so
Podcast.
so Colin can, get that 3-point
yeah.
stance.
Yeah.
And he's got that pressure. And Corey can, he moves very fluid with the stone.
Yeah.
And he's very, very strong.
Yeah.
But Colin's just in a different world. That's a great shot.
Yeah.
That's a great shot
Nice
by Cora.
double. Get that out.
Cleans up the end. Very little pressure on
Yellow sits
the
2.
Dubberstein team right now.
I think that's my second curling call. Yellow sits 2 of the game.
It's possible.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yellow has sat 2 at least twice before this,
Yeah.
considering they have 2 2-point
Yeah.
scores.
Yeah.
Sweeping is an interesting aspect of this game now, because there's a lot of effort going into maximizing it, whereas before it was just like, it was binary. Are you a good sweeper or are you a bad sweeper? You just did what the skip told you, right? And now there's a lot of like, they're thinking for themselves. They're sweeping in different ways, like you just were a sweeper, you swept. Now there's the snowplow push to keep the rocks straight, or there's the 45 degree when you're trying to sweep for weight, or you sweep 90 degrees in certain points. And you have to know when to do what, and there's not time to communicate that as a command from the skip. You just need your sweepers to understand what they're supposed to be doing in these spots. And really, the sweepers are making the calls most of the time when you see all these elite teams. Like, the skips are just encouraging them. They give them the information, and then, when they have to go for line and stuff, you're just yelling as a coach at that point. If you keep yelling hard, like, the skip isn't really doing anything. There's no strategic advantage of the skip at that point.
Yeah. I was just looking at that one back there.
And it's all on the sweepers.
Yeah.
If you let me ask you a hypothetical question.
Okay.
If you've got a friend of yours who you curl with every once in a while, not in the same team, but you see him in beer league and everything, and he thinks that he's a really good curler. I mean, good sweeper. Like, he does really good effort, really good.
Okay.
But he could be a better sweeper. But he's kind of bullheaded and he doesn't really take advice. How would you give him some information about it? I mean, how would you approach that subject with being nice but not nice?
That's a difficult question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard to give. It's actually, I find, in all seriousness, it's hard. Like, when I see people curl, and I feel like I could give them a little advice, even though I'm not like a senior curler or anything. But
Sure.
when you see something,
Well, it all
But
comes down to
people don't need that. People don't like or want necessarily to have feedback. It's like,
it
you want
depends on where the
feedback?
feedback comes from.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Is if they don't. There's a lot of people who think that they are a set skill level, or that they're like, they land a certain point on the spectrum of skill, right?
Yeah.
And if someone who is near them or perceived to be below them on that, another nice shot.
Well, I
gets the
generally
blank
don't
back into
perceive
play.
people being below me.
But that's what I'm saying, is if you think that you have some advice to offer someone, and they happen to perceive you as lower than them, they're unlikely to listen. And
I usually just swear at them. Like,
after you went down there, I looked at it.
Jesus, why don't you?
Yeah.
right, and they're unlikely to listen.
Yeah.
And it's, that's one of the weaknesses of, I think, in general, the casual competitive to competitive curler. Is a basic personality trait of people is they think they're better than they are.
Just killing me. I'm like,
myself included, right? But it's hard for people who think they're good at something to hear they're not as good as they think they are.
And in your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's what you end up saying, like, well,
even if someone just says that, like, it's hard for them to hear it, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want to accept that it's true. They don't want to accept that they need to make changes. But that's what makes the elite people in this game, is accepting, like, as a base stat, I need to improve on everything, right? And always looking for ways to improve and looking for feedback and looking for that stuff. And you don't see that very often. And I think that you see it is a common trait in the people who are the most successful.
Should be able to see that.
You know, they look for ways of like, what am I not doing as good as I could be
That's
doing?
a nice draw under there.
That's a
Nice
great draw.
Sweeping.
Oh, I don't think you can see any of it.
Yeah, so I was at this marketing
Yeah.
conference last week or 2 weeks ago, and they said that it was about
Down.
consumer trust, and it had to do with, like, if you lose the consumer trust, how to restore it. And one thing they
Yeah.
said is there was a
But down
study
to-
that if you touch people,
And I had 47
uh,
long.
it increases their level of trust. So maybe if I just hold that person's hand
Yeah.
and say, you know,
That's very interesting because it can be effective,
yeah,
but it can also
if
be,
it's wielded properly.
it can be so creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. I
It's
heard
like
that.
when somebody's trying to like sell me something and they like just touch my arm, I want to leave.
Yeah.
I want to leave,
Yeah.
and I can't stand that. And maybe that's because some part of me understands that they're doing it as a sales tactic.
Yeah. It's like not genuine. It's not genuine touch.
Right.
You know, but listen, I'm really glad that you you came up here.
Thanks, Chris.
You know, it's funny though. I'm not a real touchy-feely, affectionate person generally, and so I got that. And I was listening at this conference. I was like, yeah, you know, my wife's name's Erin, and I was like, I'm not like a really touchy person. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to touch her every day, like in a nice way, like when I'm
Yeah,
leaving or something.
right.
And the first time I did it, she like got all weirded out. She was like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm not used to doing it, so I didn't do it right.
Right.
Lots of
Yeah.
room.
It felt fake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was yeah, but she did like it.
This is a big shot here.
It is.
Down two.
I think they're in pretty good
Line's really
shape,
good
actually.
Now. Yep. Yep.
They need to
yep.
go.
Line's really good now. Yep.
They need to
Yep.
go. Hold the line.
Hard, hard, hard.
That's a great shot. It's a great shot from Kim. Forces the single.
I think we ought to take our one.
I think we ought to take our one.
Back 12, we can. Well, that's true. Just like back.
Nice shot.
Do you want to try it? And even if we just.
Or she
I think
had
yeah.
Egyptian
and
head
we could
there.
I
try it.
applaud
We
Anne
could
Marie's
figure out
moxie
the
here,
one.
but
Yeah,
I don't
left
think that this is a possible shot.
Yeah.
Matt Berklid just said,
Damn it.
"Wow, way to bring it back to curling, guys."
After he throws, I'm gonna run
No,
and get
he
my water.
didn't. But we did bring it back to curling.
We sure did.
Yeah, just when it got interesting.
I think it's the right call from Anne Marie. Take your one.
Yep.
Play the scoreboard. Up 3,
Excuse me.
4 to play.
Sorry.
I think this is the right play. Kim made a great shot.
Okay, yeah.
Concede that and move along to the next end. Take that 1 point and a 3-point lead into the.
It is pretty.
We have a score on sheet 3.
405. Okay.
Red. Red has 1 point now. Who's red? Craig. Craig is red. Craig Brown leads Andrews Stupera 1-0 after 5 ends.
Incredible.
It's a barn burner over there.
How's Richie's team doing over there?
Looks like they got one, forced to 1 in 4. They are playing 5. They are shooting with 1 in the top 4 and a bunch of center guards.
We got it. We got it.
I
guys.
think they're throwing an additional guard.
What's the score?
They're up 2.
Up 2. All right.
Ooh, the draw is short, and we have a game on our hands.
Oh, steal a 1.
Steal of 1 to Kim Ryan.
We don't want it.
It was.
Sorry, that was a really good sweep.
So I think in the 5th end, we'll probably see double centers again. Try to get that pressure back on.
Yeah, just do it.
It's okay.
So maybe we could update some of the other scores. So on sheet 2, it's Workin and Smith. It's tied up 2 apiece.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe sheet 3 cannot be right. It's unbelievable. 1-0 at the end of 5. I would have.
What is this? 1983?
Yeah, I would have loved to watch that.
Tight.
Sheet 4, Burr and Nurnberger tied up 3 apiece. A lot of good.
Yeah,
curve
Croy
going on.
got 3 in the 3rd to tie it up. Todd was trying to draw for second shot with his first in the 4th here. He came up a little bit short. It looks pretty good. He's sitting one, top 4 buried under a wall of red guards that are about 4 feet in front of the ring, so they're not really runnable.
And it looks like Pottinger's up by 4.
Yeah, they got that big steal of 3 in
Flannery.
in the
It looks
second.
like they're sitting 2 right now.
And then I'm not sure what happened in the third. I think it was a blank. Third was a blank.
Yep.
And Pottinger's, yeah, sitting 2, throwing again.
Switch.
That must be somebody's chain on the microphone.
That guard's not quite where they want it to be, unfortunately.
That's so much better.
Not only does it not quite touch the center line, it's more of a 2 guard. And when you're looking for double centers, you really want a 1 and a 3, so you can get that separation, make the double peel harder. And you really do want to have a 3 guard so that you can, at some point, once they start peeling off the top one, your come around under the guard will be a tight guard instead of a long one. They'll probably, in this case, end up having to throw their 3 guard, which will then be exposed to a potential tick.
I think it's pulling now. Yeah, it's a swirl. Really good. Great.
Yeah, that's where they're going to go. Tight 3 on the center line.
I just got the long, not 50. Oh, okay.
That's a great shot over on sheet 6.
3, 4, 5, 4.
Really don't want a 5 here. Hoping this will die, but nice and tight.
All right, I gotta find that mic. It's driving me nuts. Must be that one.
So we got our staggered centers.
Yes.
As long as the double peel doesn't happen, we should have an end of play in the 4-foot here. The dangerous part about the way those guards are staggered is if Anne-Marie decides to at some point play that double peel, that red one on the center line is going straight back into the 4-foot, so it's tough to get. It's tough for Kim to get one in a position of stealing. This is not good. It's bad.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Bad.
This is exactly what Kim was hoping for as she set this end up. A couple of center guards in play, not really a corner guard in play. I mean, now she's got 3 centers. One of them, splitting center line. So if she can get this one top 4 buried, the steal is on at this point. The 2 reds do double peel very easily, but then it's back to peel, guard peel, guard peel, guard peel, guard peel, and at some point, Anne-Marie's going to have to make a move on shot rock if it gets into a good position. As long as they get this one by and into the 4-foot.
All right, I think we have to clean that up.
Okay, that's a reasonable position for that stone.
They do look grouped together.
My friend Jordan, who has done quite a bit of commentating this weekend, and he
have something there.
is we co-host podcast. He thought that it would be really cool. Like we should name, because there's like really very common openings.
Yeah, like in chess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There should be a book that says, oh, well, this is the...
Like the Helsinki defense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
If this red one, if she hits about a quarter of this stone, that red one on the center line might go straight back.
Oh, so
Wow.
close.
That was interesting.
Good
Just
call.
needed a little bit less of it.
Yeah. Well, it does open it up, though.
It does. And if at some point they can make a double peel, now that red one can be a corner guard for later, for an intern come around potentially. That's about as good as they could hope for. I mean, obviously, if they'd got the one on the set,
Yeah,
in the 8-foot,
I do that whenever
out of the
I'm not
8-foot,
the inside
that would have been better, but that was about as good of a result as they could have expected here. Now you're going to see
Good throw.
Kim throw a couple of guards and Marie peel a couple of guards, and we'll get to probably
I get it.
third, second stones before somebody decides to make a move. Unfortunately for Kim, that one on the center line, they really wanted that top button because of the sequencing of the rest of the end here. This one's heavy, so they're trying to bring it all the way into the forefoot. If that had been a guard and you see some peels, the sequencing for the rest of the end is, you know, guard, peel, guard, peel, guard, peel. Eventually, assuming parity, Anne-Marie just has a draw to the forefoot for her 1 point, which is a result that you're fine with if you're Kim. Really, you do, like, down 1 without playing 5, the scoreboard is super not in your favor. Because even if you steal, then the other team has hammer in the 6th tied up. If you give up the single, then you know you're down 2 in the 6th, and you really need to get the 2 to tie, and then they're tied within 7. So,
you know what I would do here, though? I would subscribe to the one end at a time. You know, I'm not gonna.
You can't win the game in one end unless you get a bajillion points, right?
Yeah. But you know, like championships, you know, they never are concerned about 3 ends or 3. You know.
They're always thinking about it, though.
Yeah, I meant like championship basketball. They're like, well, I got to get this.
Yes. But in other sports, there's less of a finite amount of things that happen in the game, right? You know, in basketball, if you up your tempo and pace of play, there's more possessions and you get more chances to score. In curling, it's not that way, right? You get exactly 8 ends to play. Baseball is the closest thing, but also each end is, or each inning in baseball is a theoretical unlimited number of batters, right? So curling is kind of unique in that.
You're saying that baseball is the closest thing to curling?
No, not at all.
But in a sporting sense, that's like
in a sense that there's a finite number of innings.
Nobody likes baseball. It doesn't matter. That's my running gag.
I like baseball.
Yeah, I do too. When the Twins are playing well.
Yeah, I like the A's. That's my team.
The monkey. Don't they have the rally monkey for the A's?
I
oh no, that's the Angels.
Sure.
The Twins played the Angels like maybe 15 years ago in a divisional series, and they had the rally monkey, and they beat us.
That's yeah, that sounds like an Angels thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy Californians.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Bunch of nut
taking
jobs.
all our water.
Yeah. Avocados are real good though.
Yeah, and almonds.
How do you think it is here?
I'm more about the avocado. Almonds are fine.
I like almonds.
Yeah.
I like almond milk.
How about Di Serono? The almond liqueur.
On ice? Well, I think it's very nice.
It's quite nice.
Yeah. You know, an almond liqueur would probably do this. I think there I can't remember, there was a woman, Gene Kelly is not a woman. There's like a classic actress, not Judy Garland. But anyway, so she used to hang out with the Rat Pack a lot.
Okay.
She would always get amaretto because it looks like whiskey, and they'd all be drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
She would get amaretto, a little bit lighter. She could drink, look like she's drinking. So my wife likes amaretto for that reason.
You can't see any of that yellow one, right? You can? On this
Who was the actress for Breakfast at Tiffany's? I think it was her.
Hepburn? Audrey Hepburn?
Audrey Hepburn. I think it was Audrey Hepburn, but I could be wrong.
Sure. Okay.
Well, what happened on sheet 3, there were a whole bunch of rocks on the right side of the house.
I'm sure they blanked it.
It looked like it would be a hard blank.
It doesn't mean they didn't blank it.
All right. So I told Kelly that I'd ask you this question.
Okay.
So
is this question?
It's curling related.
All right.
Yeah. And we're going to go back to the 5 rock rule.
Yeah.
So they're using the 5 rock rule at the Fairbanks Curling Club.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to know if any curling club is not using it, because everyone I know is.
Yeah.
This year, and she needs help.
Okay.
Imagine that you're down 2.
Yep.
Without the hammer.
Okay.
Do Do you have any tips on using the 5 rock rule
Touch more.
to get back in to the game?
If you're down 2 without the hammer,
That's pretty high.
there is no immediate benefit to the 5 rock rule. It will not benefit you when you do not have the hammer. However, what you can do,
Help, but so you're like in a tough spot at that.
you're definitely in a tough spot.
Sticky
but
wicket.
Here's how you can use the 5 rock rule: is aggressively try to force
Yes.
so that you can get the hammer back,
Hard.
and then use the 5 rock rule. Because if you are, let's say you're down 2 without, and you get your force. Ooh, geez, that's an unlucky result. If you're down 2 without the hammer and you get your force, using the 5 rock rule, when you have the hammer, 3s are way more in play. And so you can catch up that way. You can go 1-3, right? Force, get your 3.
Oh.
As
So
opposed
if
to
so in a nutshell, the answer is
get the hammer back.
go for the force.
Yeah,
And get the hammer back. Don't give up 2.
right. Do not give up 2. Like
Now that advice
getting your
could
steal is
also
fine.
be used for the regular without the 5 rock.
It absolutely could.
Yeah.
However, if you're down 2 without,
See what they do, but we
It-
can always pick it out.
it depends on where you're at in the game too, right? If you're down 2 without early, like let's say you give up 3 and then get forced,
Yep.
right? There's still time to force, use the 5 rock to get your deuce, force, use the 5 rock to get your deuce. Because teams that are ahead are never going to throw double corners and use the 5 rock that way.
Yeah.
And so
So it's not going to hurt you. probably.
right, if you're ahead with the 5 rock rule, it doesn't benefit you.
Although you could be more aggressive, right? You wanted to.
You're never going to throw the double. If you're going to be aggressive, the way you're going to do it is throw the corner, come under right away.
Okay.
Because you're never going to throw the double corners because you're never
Yeah.
worried about them peeling it.
Yeah.
Right? So what's going to happen is when you want to be aggressive with the 5 rock rule, they go like tight guard, you go corner, they go in, you go in. And
Yeah.
then now they can't peel that corner.
Yeah.
And they have to decide between, do I throw another center? Do I come under my guard again? Do I freeze your one on the side?
All right.
And then that's how you make them make their decisions. Because if the game is close and you are aggressive with the 5 rock going corner in, then if they go another guard and don't make it perfect and you hit the one on the 4-foot and roll away,
Which is gonna block this, but it's
and roll away to the other ring, now you've got your one buried and you've got an open one. And now your deuce is super in play, and if they ever miss, you come under again, and now 3's in play.
All right.
That's if they play the guard.
Now, she says, we'll go back to, we should talk about what's going on here because,
It's a complicated end. The first one we've had in a while, actually.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I do too.
This looks like
What weight?
Kim's first, or is it Anne-Marie's first? Sorry.
Yeah. Kim's already thrown one, and it looks
Yep.
like red is sitting 2
Red is sitting 2. It looks to
in a
me
very
like she's-
odd arrangement,
Right.
actually.
It looks like she's playing a hit and roll on this shot, which is a fine choice.
Draw would be good, too, right?
Draw would also be good. I think this is one of those whatever you're feeling type of situations.
Yeah. Or the quintuple takeout.
I wouldn't play that.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Maybe
That was-
maybe 16-year-old me would play
That was just a test.
But the good thing about this shot is you see the red rock that's shot rock on the right side as we look at it. That's kind of the yellow one's corner frozen to it. You can see half that stone, right? If she does happen to nose this red one, there's a ton of pressure on Kim because yellow's going to be sitting 2, 3, and 4. And if you ever miss your shot, they can pick that red one out and get 3. I don't know that they would decide to do that, but it's a possibility. And that gives this goes back to what we were talking about earlier of just putting pressure on teams to make them make shots. And not necessarily playing what you think is the easiest shot for yourself, but playing something to make the other guy make a really tough one. Now you're in a position, if you're Kim, where do you go here? If you go to the top of the button, you might leave her that slash double,
I thought
and
you
yellow
were
sits
on.
3, and then you're sunk.
And I had 9-7.
Yeah, just move it all.
I think that's still where she has to go, but she's got to be very careful with it.
Good.
She almost wants to come all the way under the yellow one. So on your screen, as you see, slightly like 11 o'clock, basically, there's that red one half in the 12-foot, and then there's the yellow one right behind it. I think she wants to be dead buried in line with that, so that they can't make the slash, because you're this rock that's being thrown would then jam on the one in the back of the 8-foot. That's where you want to put your stone. The problem here, like, there's a lot of places you can.
What about
put it
hit
that
and
are
roll
scary.
off that? You know, the 2 o'clock there.
That's another reasonable call. The scary part about that is if you don't make the roll, then they can hit that wide one and sit 2.
Yeah, but you're already saying, like you're saying, there's a big risk that they're going to get 3.
2's also bad.
Yeah, agree.
You know,
yeah,
3's obviously worse, but
yeah, and 4. If you got 4, that'd be even worse. Oh, look at they scored it on. It's tied.
wow, they've doubled their scoring output.
Yeah, it's a 1 apiece between Brown and Stupera.
Yep, Bill just missed a run back. It looks like Andrew looks like he's in a really good position to steal here. He's got one top 4 splitting center line, 2 center guards, and he's about to throw a 3rd one.
You got to believe that those guys really want to beat Coach and Dad.
I think she damn.
Yeah, and oddly, I don't think it's the other way around. Like, I think that there's obviously they like winning, like Mark and Bill and Dean, and like they don't want to lose, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's less killer instinct coming from those guys than from the kids.
They told me earlier they want. Bill said, "Hey, I'm going to give you some money. I want you to go buy Dean a beer." Like, they wanted to get liquored up a little bit. Well, there you go.
Speaking of which,
We got a little more magic.
oh boy,
Oh my gosh.
I'm just being fed over here.
All right.
Perfect.
It was about there.
Good.
Yeah.
Those are both for me?
Yeah,
What?
let's go.
All right, well, I'm still on my first one. But
LFG.
hey, Adam, do you need a whiskey over there? All right. Because I can't drink all this.
Can't or won't, Chris?
I would. I will.
I'll drink one of them. Let's
All right. No, I mean, Adam should have one. He's over there working the computer.
That's
don't you
true,
think?
but he's waving you off, man.
No, he's trying me. No, he's not.
Oh, he's
trying-
reaching.
Yeah, he's reaching.
Or let's just throw it.
Here. Yeah, throw it.
Just chuck it.
Muchas gracias. Skayuma. He's got a roll the boat shirt on.
Mine is good.
Quick update
Okay, let it
here.
work. We can
Kim
click off.
Kim Shaw barely stopped in time to
We're
sit
right
first
here,
and
full
second,
floor. Okay, we're not to the. We need
which isn't the
to
worst.
slow down. We should be okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
get
great.
in there. Get in there. Well,
I,
Yep.
I thought it had
She
to
got
work
it.
for some reason.
There you go.
Yeah.
One for Anne Marie. She had a lot
that's
of.
got to be one of the more complex forces I've seen in a bit.
You know, I've found that most ends like that, most ends that are very complex like that, do end in forces.
Yeah.
And
All
I
right.
was
So
thinking that,
when
but
you were
then
talking about the
too late.
5 rock rule,
Yeah.
Kelly wanted to say, well,
Nice one.
she had asked the question when we were talking about it, and you'd already addressed it. But she said, okay, as if to say, you added some more details that are useful, so thank you.
This is the
Sweet.
even end.
Glad to be of
This would
service.
Really nice to get a steal. Even a force is great.
So do we want to go top 4 or do we want to?
I think.
Big shot coming on sheet
first.
4, actually. Croy, I think this is his hammer shot.
That's true. Yeah, I don't. They wouldn't.
Has a
hit
hit
us.
through the port for
Okay.
3
Yep, I like
to take
it.
a 1-point lead against Todd Burke.
Keep going.
Todd got a pretty easy deuce. It looked like in the 5th. He just had to touch the full 8 with a draw, and
Thank
now
you, I
Croy with a
tried.
chance for 3 back.
Just because of silly things that happen.
He has an interesting delivery.
It looks pretty good. I think he's good.
Oh my gosh, that sweep was intense. Very nice.
That was not his hammer shot. That was his first stone.
So it's not quite as dramatic
I like
as.
the weight. 6.
What are my thoughts on Croy's pants?
7. I think
Oh, A+. A+. Can we get the camera over there?
What?
Oh, get this man in a workout video. Those are amazing.
Are they tight?
No, they're just, I mean, they're not loose, but they're
They
the
have a
navy blue that matches with their, you know, navy jackets.
Yes.
And it's got the similar stripe that they have going across the chest there,
On the
but
side.
right down the thigh, you know? That's, I'm jealous and
Or envious? Which one? Envious would be, does that make it so that your wife would want to be with him instead of you?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind.
Well, then you're ambivalent. Maybe jealous. I can never figure out envious and jealous. It's too hard.
I think envy has to do with something you don't have, and jealousy has to
That
do
you covet. You might covet it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And jealousy has to do with more about like kind of losing something you've already got a little bit.
Oh, that's an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm jealous of all these 20-year-old curlers.
Being 20 years old.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, and curling. 'Cause like I mean, I don't know
Weight
if I
is
would have liked
good.
curling when I was 20, but
2.
took it up when I was 40. So,
Nice.
Solid 2.
yeah. But I missed all this.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I wasted my 20s in curling, unfortunately. But luckily, it's a sport that you can still excel in your mid-30s, and so
Yeah.
that's my goal.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Pete Westberg, I interviewed him for my podcast, and I really like his voice. And one time we were sitting in this club, and we were interviewing. You could hear in the background, you could hear the chiller going. It was like,
I just got to say, I love Amy's slide. I think this
Yeah.
is crisp, clean. It's awesome.
yeah.
I think it's great. It's
But
not going to work out great
I
here,
should have been there to help Sweet.
but I think it's awesome.
I think she's got it.
But they have all these banners up there, and I was telling them, I was like, gosh, I'd really like to be on a banner. I said, I think the only way, based on my age,
Yeah,
is if I win some sort of like senior,
Yeah.
senior championship or something, I get a banner up there.
Okay.
He said, well, how old are you? And at the time I was 45.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, you've got a lot of time to be really, really good. And I was like, hold that type.
Yes.
Tight. 'Cause someday I'll be really, really good.
Coming
Or I'll
for you.
be really old.
I like it.
And I won't remember. It'll be fine.
I won't remember.
Yeah.
We actually played with
98.
me and Sam and Matt, two of my teammates, this weekend. I think 3 years ago, we played a season with Lyle Sieg, who won the Senior Men Worlds Championship the year before.
3. We're coming down.
And honestly, that was a great learning experience for me. Growing up, I was always skipping, and so I only had my own brain. We were talking about skip foils before. It was really, really nice to play third for a year under somebody who had a different understanding of the game. And we found a lot of success even though we had different styles. My style is generally very, very
I really
aggressive.
like that.
It's my natural instinct, and Lyle was a little bit more defensive. And I learned to embrace that,
heavy.
and we took a lot of
It is a quick time though.
tournaments
I
where
had a 98.
I actually flipped
Yeah.
and was the more
But I was
conservative.
just trying to go by
I
the
talked him
rock.
off the ledge a couple of times
Huh.
on spots. And I think that it's really, really helped
I don't
both
think
of
these
our
rocks
games.
are very well matched.
And I'm grateful for that season, even though,
Yeah.
we ended up, it was the height of the hair brooms,
Oh, yeah.
like right
So
when it was getting
he
discovered.
curls out of Seattle, right?
Not anymore. He
Oh.
lives in Blaine, Washington,
Okay.
which is right on the border, and he curls out of Blaine and I think Richmond, Virginia.
And Richmond, Virginia.
Sorry, BC.
Oh.
Richmond, BC.
Yeah.
Virginia.
Well, that's got to be
City.
kind of fun to curl out a Canadian club.
Yeah, he plays men's there. He drives down like twice a month for our Seattle League.
I've got a cabin up in International Falls, which is the northernmost city in the country, continental. If you ever look at a weather map, they always have the temperature.
What state is that in?
Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
And it's right on the
'cause you
border.
got the little tippy thing.
Yeah, but there's not a city up there. I went to a couple years of school, but I grew up in northern Minnesota when I was younger, and but they don't have International Falls does not have a curling club, but Fort Francis.
This could be good. This could be good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Need to sweep it a little more. Dang.
Fort Francis on the Canadian side has a curling club, and I've always thought if I ever moved back to International Falls, I'd have to curl. I'd have to drive across the border once, twice, 3 times a week and buy expensive beer because Canadian beer is always really expensive. And I think that could be a problem driving back.
Yeah, but with the exchange rate, it's free.
That's right.
Well, I give you more.
Well played. That's right.
Yeah, they've been going.
Yeah, we calculated earlier, the Korean team is here.
Yeah.
And the Korean currency is the won, W-O-N.
Okay.
And I didn't know what the purse is for this, but I estimated it was 4,000 if you win the whole thing. And,
Tight.
And it's 4.5 million wons.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Al, close.
I'm going to move to Korea.
Yeah.
On its own. It looks great.
Rich.
Al, on its own. Shoot.
It's a pretty good shot here.
That's good.
Yeah, it's trouble.
Yeah, Kim's in trouble. They're down 2 and they're forced to be playing big weight hits, which is not where you want to be. They're going to have to get that rock off the forefoot if they even want to score. And
she's giving really tight broom, so it'll be exciting.
Yeah, they're playing a lot of weight here.
Yeah.
I would think what's probably going to happen is they're going to get a double, and one's going to bounce into the 8-foot if she throws this okay.
A little wide.
It is a little wide, but I mean, she's got a catcher over on the left, which is good. I think that's a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
So now that one's actually buried under the corner guard. I mean, it's a long corner, but now they can corner freeze to it. Anne-Marie's pressure is off of Kim now.
Yeah, well, that was a really
right, and so now you see she's going to have to throw this center guard. There's a lot of potential choice here for Anne-Marie. I honestly don't love any of it. I would be inclined to just peel the corner guard, honestly, because you don't have a good thing to do to put pressure on Kim. So the best thing to do is relieve the pressure on yourself, if that's the case. They just don't have a place to put a stone that Kim doesn't have a good chance at 2.
Maybe the center guard is right. My first thought was
the center
guard.
Counter, partially buried.
Yeah, I guess we could wait for that though.
Okay. If we put out the center guard, I'm expecting him to go under. Yeah. And so we just have to be okay with that.
They're either going to go under or they're going to go after that rock, which both are fine.
Yeah, me too.
That was a good conversation. You see a lot of times skips and thirds will
I'm pretty sure that one's on.
go meet each other at the other end of the ice.
The red is.
And a lot of the times the conversation's not productive. It's just like, man, I don't know what to do. What should we do? But here, they both were.
Yeah, they worked it out.
It was, what shot do we want to play? What will they play in response? Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
And if the result is we want this shot, this is what they'll do. We're okay with that. Great, do it.
Yeah.
Move on. Let's play the shot. And that's where they ended up. I think I would have arrived at a different conclusion.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Yeah, they need to develop their own logic, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not to say that one is maximally better than the other one. Like my team is different than her team, right? Like we would be inclined to play the peel on the corner guard, I think, and just clean the end up. Especially since it's the 6th end. If they blank the 6th, then we're in great shape going into the 7th.
Yeah, not a lot of time left.
Exactly. And it gives us hammer back and evens. So that's where my head would be at. But now, if Kim doesn't make this shot good, then the steal is on and the game's kind of over at that point if the steal happens. So we see a lot of risk involved with the center guard, but a lot of payoff as well.
Oh, I think we ran out of batteries, or they got turned off on Kim's squad. So we only have.
Be able to access it.
So bad, so sad.
Boomer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always feel wasteful when I replace the batteries too frequently, but
Yeah, you can't have them run out in the middle of a game.
yeah. Well,
Andrew did steal one in the 7th, like we were talking about earlier, so they are up 1 playing 8th. The first 3 sheets, by the way, are a full 2 ends ahead of 4, 5, and 6 because of that game we were talking about earlier that went for about 3 hours and then had the extra end.
How's Smitty doing over there?
Smitty is losing. I think he gave up a 3-banger.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because I think he's yellow.
Yeah, I think that's enough ice.
I can't
We'll
quite
find out here in a moment.
tell. Yeah, Smitty's yellow, so they're down 3.
So that cleans up some of the tiebreakers if he does not win.
No.
Right? Oh, I thought you said it did.
If Smitty wins, then
Oh,
that brings Workin
that
out of
clears.
the thing,
Yeah.
and so it's a clean cut.
Oh, yeah.
If Workin wins, then there's a tiebreaker game.
Yeah, we're not streaming the tiebreakers.
What?
Yeah, we did that last year,
Yes,
and
This is a great shot. That's a great shot.
it is.
Half buried,
Nice little roll inside.
perfect. It cuts off the draw. They can't hit it and be shot. That was a great shot. And if they do somehow draw into the 4-foot, wide around the red corner guard or something like that, that yellow is accessible to Anne-Marie on her last. So that almost a perfect shot from Anne-Marie on that one. I think Kim is looking at the through the port in turn. Hitting and rolling off of this one doesn't accomplish a ton. It makes sure that you don't get stolen on, prolonging the game, which is maybe a fine strategy here, just because you don't have a good chance at 2. This is where my aggressive nature would come into play, and I would be more inclined to play an in-turn up the center line through the port, trying to get to the one on the side 8-foot that's shot rock currently.
But it came.
Not necessarily with much more than like back 8-foot weight, just kind of a tap
Over
freeze.
here?
Yeah, like through this port.
Through this way.
Yeah, through this port, kind of tap freeze.
What I like
That would be
about
my
that, though, is
inclination.
She hits it, she won't be one.
This is the call you make
It
if
is
you're
kinda
just
nice
trying to
peek out a
make sure
little
you
bit.
get one, keep the game close, and go from there.
No, it's okay.
Honestly, I don't know which one is mathematically more correct, but she feels like she's going to make this one, so that's the most important thing, I think.
Well, Matt says
I do like it though. Like,
he's volunteering you to stream the tiebreaker solo, and he said use your aggressive nature to stream the tiebreaker games solo, Steven.
I would aggressively do that. Unfortunately, we aggressively have a 9 o'clock game in the morning, so I'm going to try to avoid.
I'd be. Last time they did it on sheet 2, and we actually ran. I didn't bring the gear. I didn't even think about it. We ran extensions down there, but it was just like a weird angle, and it's the middle of the night, and
the tiebreaker game was on sheet 2. You mean?
Yeah.
Oh wow, Smitty scored a big 4-banger.
Uh-oh.
Big 4-banger in the 7th to go up 1.
okay.
Quattro, as they say.
Is that your brother?
Yeah.
How does he does he have a headset in or something?
I think they're watching the stream behind
How
him.
does he know what the hell's going on?
He's in my head. He's in my head.
Yeah.
Him and Sam might die of laughing right now. They're upside down.
Because think, like, your shooter was here.
There is a question that I want to ask you.
All right, hit me.
I want to know,
I get it.
you made you're talking about your board games, and you said, I play European board games.
That style.
And you kind of, the way you said it was like there must be better than like North America.
They're more strategic.
Yeah.
Like, what would be an example of a European
Okay,
board game?
so there's a trend in board gaming where even like North American manufacturers now are using the European style of board gaming, and where that originated.
This is really going to bring the listenership up when we talk
right,
about
right
board.
into yes. This is the heart of our viewership right now. But like Settlers of Catan is an example of a European style board game.
I played that game.
Yeah,
with my daughter actually.
And
there's a junior version, which is nice to play with little kids.
I've never played that one.
Yeah. It kind of gets rid of the trading with people at the table.
Okay.
Simplifies it.
That's probably the worst aspect of that game, actually.
Yes!
So Kim made a great shot to nose that yellow stone and give herself a chance at 2, because if Anne-Marie had wrecked on that guard, then she has a pretty open chance to tap that yellow one through and get her 2. Anne-Marie, let's give credit to Jenna and Allison on that one. That was less Anne-Marie's doing and more their doing. They made that shot and now force the single, so they're going to be up 1 with playing 7.
Well, they do have to throw the rock, Stephen.
I'm going to assume and give Kim the benefit of the doubt that she can make this draw to the 4-foot. I hope that she does, because that makes for a much closer game and more ends of good curling that we get.
I don't actually think that this is that easy of a draw.
That's not easy, but I expect
that rock there is kind of in the way.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a port that she has to navigate.
Yeah.
But
expertly.
I would expect her to make this shot most of the time. If I'm Anne-Marie in this game, I'm assuming that she's made this shot. You know, this is a shot that when I'm playing against an opponent, if they miss this one, I feel very, very lucky.
They aren't pretty.
This looks nice.
And Wilmer, they put me in the newspaper.
I don't think they can hurt this one too much.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it gets here.
I think they're good. Yeah, it looks quite nice. Oh, wow. Coming down very strongly. Oh, short.
Yeah.
Bum bum.
If you had to think, like, what is your, like, I want you to concentrate here.
Okay.
If you had to pick one, like, say you were stranded on a desert island with a solar-powered beer cooler, and you had to select one IPA,
I would not.
what IPA would you select?
I would no PA.
No PA?
No PA.
Not
a PA.
You don't like IPAs?
No.
Why not?
Because they're bad.
Is it because they taste like
bad? Yes.
Yeah, like you're eating pine cones?
Yeah, they're bad, dude. They're not good.
How about a double IPA?
That's double bad.
What beer are you drinking?
I'm currently drinking an EPA.
EPA, yeah.
Which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
But it's tolerable.
Why do you have such a thing with IPAs?
I don't like the bitterness.
Oh.
Like, I hate coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gross.
You know what's funny? My brother hates coffee,
Yeah.
and he doesn't hate it, but he doesn't like coffee, doesn't like beer.
Yeah.
And he's like, these are all things that you have to acquire a taste for. He's like, if you drink it and you don't like it, why are you acquiring a taste?
Right. I'm with you on that. I'm with your brother on that. Yeah, that's not good. I'm not a fan. I do have strange taste in beer. I will say that.
Yeah. I actually kind of agree with you a little bit. I kind of like people. We had this hop thing. Like everybody's drinking so much hops.
Yeah.
Like there's a hop beer from I think it's Bell's Brewery. I'm not sure. No, it's a Michigan brewery, and it's like a ridiculous amount of hops, and it's like you take a copper pipe and you suck on it.
It's gross.
It's so nasty.
Who wants that?
Yeah, but people like it. But there are times that I do like hops. I don't like them all the time.
I like a little bit of a hoppy flavor.
Yeah.
But I don't. Why with the bitterness, and why?
Well, we're in a bitter age.
We are a bunch of bitter people.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just saw
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I live in Seattle, which is the nation's capital of IPAs. There's a bar around.
Prove it.
There's a bar. Okay, I will. There's a bar around the house.
No,
from my
don't.
place.
I don't want. You know.
There's 38 taps.
I had a former girlfriend
Nine.
who moved
Nine
to
of
Seattle.
them are not
And every time I heard her, she told me
IPAs.
about how great. You know,
They're
like in
gross.
Seattle, when you're driving down the street, 100 people, like someone wants to walk across, 100 cars will stop.
Yeah, it's the
so
worst.
that the one person can
Yeah.
walk across.
Yep.
We're so polite here in Seattle.
She said that was a good thing.
I guess so, yeah.
That's a bad thing.
I do like Seattle though.
Oh, Seattle's great except for that.
And I had a friend of mine, Rachel, who used to work with me.
Okay.
She moved from Minnesota to Seattle, and she still worked at Terrapin. And she really liked Seattle, but she said that the restaurants in Seattle are not great. She said people in Seattle don't seem to really care about good restaurants. She said there were some, but
Yeah, I would say that the culture is not. The restaurant culture is not great there.
yeah.
There's a couple of very high-end,
But they have
nice
great
places.
markets.
Yeah, they've got some good farmers markets are good.
Yeah.
Produce stands and stuff.
That rock was a 90. So maybe it is a little.
To appease my brother again and bring it back to curling,
Yeah.
we have an this is a great opening from Allison. The very, very tight center guard, maybe biting in the top 12, and then one coming right under it, just showing a corner. It puts a lot of pressure on Kim's team. If they can make this come around under this corner guard, that puts the initiative back in their court a little bit.
She was asking about the ice.
This is one of the great things about the 5-rock rule, actually. This is a perfect example. We have a rock that's in the top 12 foot that's half open, and we have the corner guard. Okay, it's like a 2-guard. Now, back in the day of 320 days ago, right?
Yeah.
If you played this shot, they're playing a hack waiter at the one in the rings. Your pro side was tick the guard, right? Because then you just make the peel, right?
Yep.
You still want the one in the ring, but your pro
Yep.
side is tick the guard.
Yep.
Now you can't tick the guard.
Yeah.
You can't tick the
You
guard.
know, I never thought about that. It's one of my favorite calls when you're like,
Yeah.
you know.
You have to make it perfect. And she did, and it's a
Yeah.
great shot. Nice shot, Jenna. But the pressure is on because you don't have room for error on that one anymore.
You know, I think you should use, instead of pressure, I think you should say the heat is on
I can't sing, though.
on the street.
On the street. On the sheet.
Oh, yeah, I like that. The heat is on the sheet. That's from
Can I fire us?
Beverly Hills Cop.
We're fired.
We only have 140 listeners, then nobody cares.
That's 140 more than I had about 2 hours ago. Look at this.
You're not that guy. Is he that guy?
What guy? Which guy?
Oh my God. So you're that guy that wore like the G-string.
That's
and
me.
And had like
I did it.
had those guys sign your
Yes. Chris Plies put a pen to my penis.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That
Wow.
happened. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad that I finally met you, you know.
I-
I have to say that I thought you were a dork at the time.
I was.
But
and
now that I
am.
know you, you're very endearing.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Still a dork, but okay.
Yeah, well, I'm a dork too.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers to dorks, you know.
Yeah.
We do some good work in this world.
Wow, that you're committed, man. Yeah, maybe you should be.
I would say I don't half-ass anything, but half my ass was out, so
She threw
You know.
A.
I'm definitionally wrong, I guess.
Erica Taylor says she cares.
Oh, that's my wife. Hi, Erica.
Hey, Erica. Hopefully we haven't said anything that was disrespectful to your wife.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So is Erica back at home?
No, she is on a road trip from Boise to Portland
Oh.
with we don't have to talk about this much, but with her boyfriend,
I like it.
and they're hanging out and have a good time. They went back to Boise to like drop some stuff off at his mom's place.
So you can get
So, yeah.
bunches up at the end.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
There's a lot there, but I didn't want to like miscategorize it, so it is what it is.
Well, I'm going to take the lighter side of that.
That's why when you were talking about like the envy versus jealousy thing earlier,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. It's not.
Okay.
I don't know how to define that.
Did you know there's a big rivalry between Portland and Minneapolis?
No. There's a big rivalry between
big.
Seattle and Portland.
Oh, is there?
Oh, yeah.
Over what topics?
I don't know, like being the most hipster.
Yeah.
Like, which
that is
one of us
not-
is the most uncool?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all you have to do is say which of these two towns has a iconic rock star that dies young, tragically, between those two towns. And then you can decide which one is the better town.
I think that it's not Portland, right?
Yeah, didn't
It's
Seattle,
Seattle
isn't,
and
yeah, it wasn't Kurt Cobain from
Yeah,
Seattle?
yeah.
Yeah.
and so is Jimi Hendrix, I think, too.
Is Jimi Hendrix from Seattle?
I'm pretty sure. God, I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, the Google is happening. I think I'm right, though. And then, Minneapolis had Prince. He died at less than like 600 years old, so that's tragically young.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so the big rivalry between Portland and Minneapolis is the bike capital of the country.
The bike capital. I was right. Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. So it's always like they have these polls about what city is the most bike friendly.
Yeah.
And Portland, it's usually like Portland, Minneapolis, and then Minneapolis and Portland, and they're putting all like Minneapolis hired a bike coordinator. They fired a couple people, and then they hired a bike coordinator.
Yep.
So that we can, which I like. I like bikes. They're good. It's good for the planet. Good for your body.
It's in theory.
Yeah. Not good for traffic sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to change the subject, or I'm gonna get mad.
You know,
Back to curling.
what's odd about this is that I tried to change the subject about Erica and the boyfriend
Yeah.
to something benign, like
Right.
bikes.
And that made me
And
mad.
that's what made you mad. It's almost like I fed you an IPA or something.
That would make me more mad. Nah, bikers. Bikers make me more mad.
Yeah, but not the cool bikers. Leather wearing,
like bike trails.
tattooing.
Yeah, like Chris Ply's great. Yes, Ply's.
All right. so
Moving.
yeah, I noticed
Right
over on
along.
sheet 3, 8th end, there's a lot of standing around.
Yeah, they have to, slow down the time because they finished 7 ends in 8 minutes. So,
Yeah.
It's a complicated end, actually. Yellow, Stopera is shot rock in the back 8 foot, left side center line. Second shot is Brownie, top 8 foot, left side center line. Third shot, Stopera to the left of second shot. Fourth shot is Brownie, top 12 foot, left side center line. And then we have a center guard that's a little bit off the center line, left side, guarding kind of all the stones. And then 2 corner guards.
Yeah, maybe we could turn that on.
I don't know if we can get that to the screen.
Yeah,
but,
we can. It's
Stopera is throwing his last stone right now. It looks like he's
it's
playing an out
sheet
draw
3
through the
by the
port.
glass.
Yeah, sheet 3 near.
Yeah.
Looks like he's playing an out-turn draw through the port, trying to sit probably top 4 foot under the corner guard, take away any chances of 2 for Craig, force the single. It'll actually be a difficult shot for 1, but force the single and then go to the extra, tied 2-2.
Do you ever listen to that podcast, the extra end?
I don't actually. I wish I did listen to more podcasts, but I don't have enough spare minutes in my life, unfortunately.
Well, my podcast, which is the Stonecast.
Stonecast?
I keep them Stonecast. I keep them to 30 minutes, except for Richie,
Wow.
which I did 2 45-minute episodes.
Okay.
Because
Which is fair.
he's
Everyone wants to
loquacious.
hear Richie talk always.
No, that's not true. But
I do.
He has a lot to say.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, look at this. So Stopera's rock is coming in. It's kind of hanging out a little bit.
That's a good shot. That's a good shot. Double is going to be very, very difficult. I don't think Craig will take it on. He might, just because being tied in the extra is such a disadvantageous position.
So you're saying he would take the double on the far right here, down? across and then sit 2 and win?
I can't see the angle because we're
it's
kind of
hard,
off to the side, right? So I don't know how much of that yellow is exposed from that red corner guard. That's kind of it's pretty high. If that double is available, he may take it on just because his chances of making that shot might be higher than his chances of stealing in an extra end.
Yeah.
It's not that he thinks it is a likely shot for him to make, but stealing in an extra end is 12 to 15%.
Yeah.
Right? And so if he thinks his chances of making that are 18 to 20%, that's a winning play.
Yeah.
Right? Especially because his shot for 1 isn't a freaking gimme.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough. So you have to factor in. It might even be that stealing is 12 to 15% to win, but making that shot is only 10% to win. It might still be the right play because his shot for 1 he only makes 85% of the time, and you factor that in. 85% of 10 to 15% is less than 10%. So these are a lot of times where you see teams take extraordinary risk on the last shot of the game.
Yeah, this next. Well, let's wait for this. Well, they're still talking. So the next question that has come up on the queue is actually of particular interest to me because my office used to be right across the street from this establishment, and I think that this chain of restaurants, White Castle, started in Minneapolis.
Okay.
I think that's true. I'm not sure. There is one in Minneapolis that's really old. What are your thoughts about White Castle breakfasts?
I think you should ask my teammates.
No, I want to know you. They're greasy. So I'll tell you my history with it.
Okay.
I moved into northeast Minneapolis. I moved into this office building.
It's not good.
And
that's my thoughts. It's not good. Continue.
Well, White Castle was across the street, and I discovered that they had breakfast for drive-through.
Yep.
And so I'd get that. I got that every day. It's really greasy, and it doesn't make you feel good later.
It's gross.
I actually it was okay. White Castle is not a bad. I mean, they have vegan options on their menu now.
I'm not ordering anything vegan ever.
Really?
No.
Oh, I go through vegan phases.
If I would order something vegan, like
you don't care.
Okay, no.
You
I
don't
might
care about
accidentally order something.
You don't
vegan,
care about
but if it's
the planet,
labeled
right?
as vegan, I'm not eating it.
Do you care about the planet?
No.
Oh, something just happened over here.
I think Craig missed.
All right, on purpose.
Stapera on purpose.
We can say he missed. So what's going on sheet 2? Because that has
extra end.
So they tied it up.
Yeah, working forced to a singular.
And that means that Jason Smith has the hammer.
Yep, big old hammer.
All right. And then what do we have going on sheet 4?
Todd is ahead of Croy by 1. Todd has hammer playing 7. It is 6-5. So Croy had that shot for 3, was sitting 3, and Todd made a great draw back 8 foot to take all 3 of those stones away. Croy had to draw for 1, ended up missing it. I didn't see if it was light heavy or wrecked the guard, but Todd stole 1 in the 5th a couple ends ago that we were talking about. And then Croy got 2 back in the 6th, so now we're playing 7. Todd is up 1 with the hammer.
You're getting kind of double teamed on the chat over here.
I believe, yeah.
Just for the record.
Oh, yeah. That's
so
not shocked.
Yeah.
Not shocked.
Do you have any favorite restaurants in Seattle, though?
I do.
Yeah. Even though apparently they're really horrible.
No, there are many awesome restaurants. But
I'm excited to hear your answer because my friend Seattle, who's a big foodie, and she actually, when she lived in Minneapolis, she lived about 2 blocks from the curling club.
Okay.
And we used to cook together. It was great. She brought me to a couple of restaurants in Seattle when I went in to visit her. And so perhaps one of the restaurant you're about to say, which better not be White Castle.
That we don't have a White Castle
yet. There's an opportunity around every
I'm gonna start lobbying.
Yeah. For breakfast. So what's your favorite restaurant?
It's a little ditty called Burger King. No, I'm kidding. It's
don't tease me.
I think the place with the best food was was a Caribbean sandwich place called Paseo a while back. They ended up closing.
Oh, it's sad.
And reopening twice in 2 different aspects. Basically what happened was the guy who owned the place left the country because he was being investigated for tax fraud and stuff. And then so he had to sell the restaurant. But he was the only human on Earth who had the recipe for the pork that they made. And then so the ownership took over and they reopened it as Paseo, right? And the employees worked there and they were like, well, we think we know how to make these sandwiches because we've been working here for 15 years. So, okay, let's try this. So they did. It's a little different. It's still very good.
Yeah, but not quite.
Then he came back and opened a new restaurant called Un Bien. And so he has reopened Paseo as now not Paseo.
Yeah.
And so now there's 2 sandwich places. They're great. My favorite place to actually take people to in Seattle, though, is a place called Aladdin. It's a Euro spot.
Oh, yeah, you're all about European. That's why you wear that European thong while watching curling.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah. It was a tight cut boy short. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mankini.
I thought I thought only women wore boy shorts.
Boys can wear boy shorts. That's why they're named boy shorts.
No, they're not. They're named boy shorts because women wear them, but they look like boy shorts.
Cheeky.
But that's right. You know what? You had a lot of chutzpah. Wow, did you see that draw?
I did not see
Todd
that
drew
draw.
that right. See that yellow rock there?
Yeah.
That's Burr, right?
I don't know that that's good.
I know, but he
did it.
I'm assuming he wanted to do it.
I think he wanted it to curl a little bit more, unfortunately.
Well, never mind.
Yeah.
All right, we got more questions.
Okay, so we have a force.
Okay.
In the 7th, so now Kim is in trouble, needing to steal 2 in the 8th. This is kind of a weird spot, actually. Your best chance at stealing 2 is to make them shoot against 3. You're basically never going to steal 2 in the 4-foot, right?
Yeah, but if you're up by 2, why would you go for 3?
No, so if you're down by 2, what you're trying to do is get 3 stones somewhere 12 foot, 8 foot, right? That's your best chance at winning, is to make them shoot against the loss. Because if you're sitting 1, 2, 3, they're never going to throw a takeout unless the one is right in the 4-foot. So what you want to do is have them shoot a draw against 3 where all your rocks are kind of in 8 foot.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay, hit me.
So down on sheet 4,
Yep.
which is pretty critical, you said that Todd probably didn't want a shot there.
I do not think he wanted a shot there.
And so then Fancy Pants down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
I got to get another look at these. These are amazing.
He's throwing. So
I wonder how much he wants for those pants. How much do you think I could buy them for?
Washed or unwashed?
I don't care. To be honest.
I think the video that we have is I think that we've been abandoned from a tech standpoint. So I'm going to go over and get the video switched.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah, I got to switch the video back.
All right.
One more.
Oh, Croy looks like his rock picked, I think. That's a huge bummer. He had a really good chance at a force, maybe even a steal here. They need to get this to curl. Yeah, that sucks. So Todd's going to have a draw for 2. The pants failed him.
All right, we got got it set up.
Toy.
I feel uncomfortable asking these questions from all these people because
Please don't.
I feel like they're setting up some sort of I honestly I feel very uncomfortable about this whole
Don't do anything you're not uncomfortable
boyfriend
with.
thing.
Oh, sure.
And so I got these weird questions that are happening.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't really know
that is a great. Can we just pause for a second?
Yeah.
That was an amazing shot. The free guard tick gets it off the rings, barely off the boards, and she rolled the shooter on. The red one's not in the rings. That was never going to come into play. Great shot, Allison. A+.
We're going to run out of time with all these questions.
Ooh, all right.
Do you think?
Starting to get nervous now.
Do you think? Now, I want your honest opinion. What do you do for a living, by the way?
I own a signs and graphics franchise called Fast Signs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we have fast signs around here.
Yep. I own one in Seattle. I worked there for about 5 years and then bought it about 3 years ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, when they print signs like this, what kind of printer is that on? It's on like a vinyl.
Yeah. So the material is called Banner. Material.
It's called Banner.
It's a pretty basic name. Yeah.
The material is called Banner.
Banner material. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because those are banners.
Is it vinyl? Is it a vinyl banner?
Yeah, it's like a woven vinyl.
Okay.
But people print them on. There's like UV solvent, eco solvent, UV.
I hope
flatbed
you use
type stuff.
eco solvent.
We do have an eco solvent.
Yeah, because you're from Seattle.
Yeah.
You guys, of the cities in the country, Seattle.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
unlucky.
Yeah.
Very, very unlucky. Now, the game's on because red is sitting 1-2, and eventually they're going to be forcing yellow to shoot against 3.
Oh, just what we wanted.
That's your goal when you're down 2. All you want is for them to throw a draw to the 8-foot against 3.
You know, I actually, I think that I will remember that. That when, I think that's really good advice when you're down 2, get it set up and you're down 2 without the hammer.
Right.
Get it set up so that they're shooting against 3 or more.
Yeah, and so where I was going with that actually is they threw the center guard.
Yeah.
When you need to steal 2, the best way to do it actually is with 2 corners, not with a center guard. Because your goal is never going to be to get a cluster of rocks in the 4-foot.
Yeah.
They're never going to happen, right? They're just going to start peeling too quick.
Uh-huh.
So your goal is to actually spread the house out so they can't make doubles. And then and so when you throw that center guard, and if they throw the tick and end up making 2 corners for you, then you saved a stone.
When you talk fast like that with all that curling knowledge, in sort of like idiot savant style,
Okay.
I can keep track of about 12% of it, and I do, yeah. But back to I didn't mean to down because you understand,
I understand
a lot more than I know.
Yeah.
But just the basic thing of when you're down 2 without the hammer,
Right. Make them shoot against 3.
make them shoot against 3 is brilliant.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter where the stones are because there's some psychological pressure of even if there's just 3 rocks in the 12-foot, if the person in the hack is getting ready to throw their stone, and it's if I don't hit the 8-foot, we lose.
Kelly, from now on, you should call me Chris, not the commentator.
Okay.
My name is Chris.
Yeah.
And Kelly, hopefully someday I'll meet you. Maybe we can catch a salmon together
That would be excellent.
on my trawler yacht after I sell my business and fund the Super Club in St. Paul and buy a trawler yacht to tour the world.
That would be an excellent. Oh no! Oh, brutal. I hugged the guard. Now it's going to be tough to make him shoot against 3.
All right. Yeah, well, Kelly doesn't like me cutting you off because you know so much. All right.
I was basically done, to be fair. I had finished my point.
I know. Good. Excellent.
Yeah. That's great reading of the room, Chris. You know, you the banter, the back and forth.
I might not have read the room right, but
you got it right though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to imagine a situation.
Okay.
Imagine that you had 2 skyscrapers.
Yep.
Identical heights.
Okay.
Super tall. Like, say this tall, and say, like, the rest of the skyscrapers
Like 7
were
feet
this
tall? That's
yeah,
how
like
tall?
this tall. Well,
that's
this is more
like 5 feet tall.
Yeah, but think like this is like a skyline.
Okay.
And say they're made out of steel. Steel beams, construction.
How much jet fuel do we have?
We have a lot of jet fuel. We have
So we
enough to get to Europe.
So we can melt these steel beams, is what you're telling me.
I don't know. That's the question. The question is, imagine that this jet flies into the side of that thing.
This is no longer a hypothetical question, is it?
Do you think that the jet fuel in the plane could actually, because I have heard actually that there would have to have been explosives inside like the center. Like normally, you probably don't know this, but when they build these buildings, they have the kind of a center shaft which gets built up because that's where the crane is.
Yeah.
And it's a structural thing which would be really hard to get to with a plane.
Yeah.
But do you think that could actually, the jet fuel could melt the steel beams? Like burning jet fuel, burning, like explosion, like it's hard to light. It's hard to ignite jet fuel, just for the record. I've tried it. Yeah.
But once it's ignited, it's very hot.
Yeah, it's super hot. Yeah, super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that it would collapse a building from the top quarter of the building.
But imagine that, like,
it's tough to say.
Yeah, it is tough to say. Well, then, if that isn't the case, then what?
How are we talking about this?
I'm just wondering.
How did this come up?
I don't.
Was it Kelly? Did Kelly ask this question?
No. Let's see here.
Because I made some comment on a Facebook thread a while back, and Kelly thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was about jet fuel and steel beams.
Yeah, no. Erica said that one.
Yeah, classic.
Erica thinks that you are the quintessential Seattle hipster.
All right. Because I'm so hipster, I don't think I'm hipster.
Yeah. I would disagree with her. You don't seem hip. You don't seem like a hipster, and I mean that in a positive way.
No, stick to the last one.
Yeah.
I don't seem hip is great.
Yeah. I mean, no, you seem super hip to me. I mean, I could see myself hanging out with you.
I appreciate that.
But I'm not hip.
Fair point.
I'm almost 50, for Christ's sake. All right.
Oh, man.
What
else we got?
We covered that one.
Yeah, let's on to the next song.
Kelly's wondering why these questions are making me uncomfortable. And it's because I'm from Minnesota, and we're uncomfortable with anything that's personal.
Yeah.
Basic.
I've noticed. I noticed you've skipped all the uncomfortable ones. That's fine. That's cool.
Oh, we have some new. We have some new action here. Carolyn. You know what? I apologize. My daughter's got a friend whose mom's name's Caroline, and Caroline I think is kind of uncomfortable to say, and I've practiced saying Caroline.
Agree.
Yeah, Carolyn is much more pleasant sounding.
Yeah.
But I've trained myself to say Caroline. But Carolyn, she said just ask the questions. I'm like, all right, I'll do what I'm told. So Kelly said she might just come over here to an event.
That'd be amazing.
You're welcome.
I miss you, Kelly.
So, well, I don't understand this question.
All right, just read it and we'll find out.
All right.
Hit me.
It says, Trey wants to know if curling is just Finnish sorcery. Now, you know that Runen is Finnish.
Okay.
Yeah, they're Finnish. And
did you know?
Did you know?
This is a setup. This is for sure a setup. They knew I was going to say it. Did you know that Finland doesn't exist?
Bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some Reddit conspiracy theory that Finland doesn't exist.
Well, you know, I don't think Finland is a Scandinavian country.
Okay.
They kind of say they do, but speaking of Scandinavian countries, did you hear that Norway put barcodes on the bottom of their navy?
No.
Yeah, so the ships leave, and then when they come back, they can Scandinavian it.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I've tried that joke about 8 times.
Okay.
Never get a joke. All right.
Okay.
All right, so then Carolyn says that Erica, it's Scottish sorcery. And then Kelly says, Erica, bahahaha, just snorted my sake. Oh, sake. Oh, ooh la la. And then Eric says, hey, trade us.
This end is shaping up very interestingly while we're all ignoring it.
All right.
Anyway.
All right, let's go back to the curling.
Yeah, because
we've got
a great spot here for Kim. They're going to be sitting 3 on Anne-Marie's last shot.
And that's exactly what you said.
That's all you can hope for when you set up your last end.
Yeah, except that it's wide open.
That's fine, because what's going to happen?
Oh, no, there's 3 rocks.
I mean, yeah, they've got 1, 2, 3, right? So Anne-Marie's probably going to do something with this one in the open, hit it.
Couldn't you just freeze down here and end it all?
No, because this is shot rock. The one on the left in the 8-foot is shot rock. And this is her first shot, not her second. This is Anne-Marie's first.
I know, but they have hammer.
Yeah, so if they freeze over there, red is still shot. And then they can.
So they're down by 1.
Uh-huh. They're down by 2. Right?
Yeah.
So they can sit 2 at that point. The freeze is not a terrible decision.
I always err on a freeze, which is probably bad.
Yeah. It is one of the tougher shots to make in curling.
Well,
but if you're good at it,
for some reason, I'm just happy to be just a natural at that.
Yeah.
Freezing.
I honestly, I swear I'd never consider playing the freeze in Anne-Marie's spot here, but it might be a good call.
Maybe
because
not.
Then you're only going to be playing against 2 on your last.
Right.
And you're already not going to be throwing a takeout.
I've got to kind of like deconstruct that. He said, honestly, I would have never thought to do a freeze on that.
Yeah.
And I think that's basically saying, Chris, that's a bad idea.
No, I don't think so, actually. I think there's.
Maybe it's like, Chris, even though you've only curled for a couple years, I think that you might know something more than I know.
Maybe. That's one of the great things about curling and like endgame strategy and weird stuff is there's all these different decision trees you can make.
Yeah.
And, people get into these situations where they think.
I do like that shot, though.
That's a pretty good result.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're just gonna try to hit that one and sit there and sit your 3 in the 12-foot. But as people who've like grown up in the game and like been part of what is quote unquote established strategy for years.
What happened on sheet 3? Oh no, they signed.
I did not see who won on sheet 2.
Well, we don't know.
But we end up in these spots where. Our brains like just take for granted what is quote unquote the correct decision, right? And in this spot, if Anne-Marie does play this freeze, even if she misses it, her shot on her last one's going to be basically the same, right? She's still drawing the 4-foot for the win. And if she plays that hit, then she's still playing the draw to the 4-foot for the win.
So you say it doesn't matter?
No, it might matter because if she makes this shot over here, the freeze, then she's never playing against the loss.
Yeah.
So it makes her last shot less pressure.
Yeah. I think you just convinced me that I was right.
You might be.
No, I think just admit that it was right.
Okay. I'll give it to you. So now that's basically a perfect roll.
Yep.
That's basically a perfect roll because it makes the draw kind of tough.
Yeah, and it's a high-pressure shot, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so now it makes the draw kind of tough, and it also makes the hit kind of tough.
Yeah.
Because she can only roll like 1.5 feet. She rolls 2 feet, she gives up a steal of 2.
Wow, so Burr scored 2, and they're up 3.
Yeah, big end there.
Yeah.
However,
we're not going to have time to answer all these questions.
There's an end developing. Yeah, these are just my friends trolling me. It's cool.
I know, but I'm finding it entertaining with the whiskey flowing through my.
Well, then let's keep it going.
All right. Well, so
I don't want to ignore this.
No, I want to wait till this is done. We'll keep it going for maybe 5 minutes after. I'll get through all these questions, just so your friends can, get their crush going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Sean, no. Are they sitting 1, 2, 3 over there? Can you guys tell?
It kind of looks like it.
Are they 1, 2, 3?
Okay. It looks like Sean just made a pretty nice shot to sit 1, 2, 3.
What happened? They tied it up?
No.
Down here.
Oh yeah, I think they rolled out.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they rolled out on the hit.
That's a good job. I mean,
by us? to
Yeah.
inform the viewers of what is happening as it happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
no,
great
well,
job,
that
guys.
was bad job, but I'm just saying that for Kim's squad, that's good.
Right, and that's exactly what the whole goal as you approach that 8th end is make them shoot against
All right.
3. Because if they miss,
So now
either
we have
tire
some
you-
time while we're switching over
Okay.
to get caught up. Somebody wants to know what brand underwear you wear.
No, they don't.
Hanes?
No,
You don't wear Hanes?
no.
That's the only underwear brand I can think of. Yeah,
Who asked that question?
I did. Actually, I was just trying to throw you for something.
Yeah.
All right. So do you think that on this end, would this be the time that you want to deploy offense on this?
The offense is always potent.
Yeah.
It's always if any time you can deploy the offense, it's gonna do you some favors, and your opponent is not gonna like it.
You know what's funny that I talked to Carrie Benton and I said I haven't had time to figure out all the
Anybody who wants to know what the offense is, just hit me in the DMs on Facebook.
okay.
Yeah.
But she was supposed to tell me, she was supposed to send someone up here to explain all the tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff when they got figured out,
Yep.
and nothing has happened.
Okay.
She forgot about me.
Either that or Smitty won that game on sheet 2 and there's no tiebreakers.
Yeah, how do we? Can you, Adam? Can you figure that out? Do you see that on the stream over there? Whether or not Smitty won on sheet 2?
He'll look into it.
All right. Well, anybody on the stream could also inform it. All right. So, all right. If you had to define hipster, how would you define it? I would. First off, do you think that I would be a hipster? Could I be a hipster?
You could be.
What would I need to be a hipster? Cool?
No, oddly.
Well, then I can't be a hipster.
Oh.
But bump.
You'd need a hat that's almost falling off your head.
I don't like hats.
Yeah, you'd need a shirt and pants that are too tight, shoes that are too big.
I like my clothes to fit.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's it.
All right, that's good enough. Because we were going to run out of time. All right, so I'm just going to read some of this stuff because there aren't questions.
Okay.
So Erica thinks we should keep this going
Yep.
until whatever.
Yeah. She texted me about 5 minutes ago,
And she also
said
says
she was dying.
Are the stones cruelty-free and ethically sourced? You know what's funny? I want to figure out how to make stones. So I've got to.
I went to the factory in
The factory?
yeah, in
Yeah, well,
in Scotland.
I think it's silly that the stones have to be from this one location.
Do you know why?
Well, I'm sure you know. Why don't you just tell me?
Yeah. So the way the granite formed when the volcano was building itself, right?
Yeah.
There was
That's called igneous rock.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, igneous. It's usually black,
Yeah.
but that's not what granite is. Is it granite?
It's granite.
Yeah.
And this particular island was a volcano surface,
Yep.
whatever,
A long
millions
time
of
ago.
years ago.
Because it would be black. I think
Yeah.
volcano is
But there was
black.
I want to say it's quartz. There's no quartz
Oh yeah.
in this granite,
See,
and so it's non-porous. And so other granite
has quartz in it.
has quartz and pores, some porousness to it. So the running surface isn't as pure. It doesn't work as well. And so what they call this granite from Elsa Craig is called the Blue Horn.
Elsa Craig.
Elsa Craig. It's called the Blue Horn granite, and it is the core of all of the stones that are.
Do you think,
used in competition now?
So you know scientifically why that granite is so kick ass.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine. His name's Amit, and he is the #1 importer of granite from India.
Okay.
And it's actually cheaper to query granite for like countertops and stuff in India, ship it in shipping containers and send it over here than it is to query it. I think in New England there's areas that you can get granite.
Yeah.
But it's cheaper for whatever reason. So if I could find granite from India that had the exact same characteristics, would you be okay with that? Or would you be so stuck up in, not stuck up, I didn't mean it that way, but so like held up in the tradition of getting it from this one tiny island?
Well, yes, I would be fine with that, but they've been searching the world and they can't find it.
Who?
Like curling manufacturers, because the issue is they can't actually quarry this island where the stuff comes from anymore. There's a limit on the amount of granite they can pull off the island. Yeah, because it's a bird sanctuary. And so they can't like blow it up anymore to get the stone off. So what it can only come off, or they can only use what falls off the cliffs from natural causes.
Really?
Yeah.
So now
what they do is
this might be my
time
key to
and
being
get it
the kingpin of curling, because I do have this friend of mine who is a big time granite importer. I'm going to get on that. All right.
Okay.
All right. So, but I can't say that those stones would be cruelty-free, because India, and ethically sourced, India kind of has some weird kind of rules, not rules, but societal rules about like caste system and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we'd have to forget about that. All right. So Kelly says, "Whoa, okay, duly noted. Make them shoot against 3, even if there are no guards." That's a good lesson. I agree. That was good, and it turned out to be good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Erica says, Chris, if you could have any curler sign your swimsuit, who would that be? You know I'm a curler.
I know. Do you want to sign your own swimsuit? That's
weird.
Weird. That's weird.
It's me. Well, first off, she spelled my name wrong. I'm Chris with a K.
Ooh.
So I would never want a swim.
Is your full name Christopher with 2 F's?
No, it's Kristefor. Very Scandinavian. I don't think I would ever want anybody to sign my swimsuit. I'm not really into signatures, autographs, or anything like that.
Okay. Not even a Kevin Martin situation?
No, I don't. That doesn't really. I don't really care about that. Although I did go to the Kevin Martin camp, and it was fine. Yeah. All right, Steven.
Yeah.
You sound just like your dad when you laugh. For real. That was Kelly.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And then Kelly said, ask Steven.
How many F's? 4?
I've already asked about Elisa Craig. I got there.
Yeah.
On my own.
Elsa Craig.
No, it's Elisa Craig.
It's Ailsa.
Yeah, that's what it is, but it's pronounced Ailsa Craig.
Ailsa Craig.
Ailsa Craig.
Ailsa Craig.
All right, who's asking the questions here? All right, next.
The chat. The chat is
we're caught up, so this is great. So Erica says Trey, which apparently is her boyfriend.
That's correct. Good dude. He's an awesome dude.
All right, I can't even comprehend this, but that's right. Wants to know if there are any rules against being drunk while curling, and also yes, actually,
it's generally encouraged.
No, except
not in competition.
Except that if the booze was served by the curling club and there's an accident, then that can cause the curling club to be liable. I learned that recently. And also, why? He also wants to know why you haven't considered being a rockologist. Geologist, maybe? Rockologist?
Yeah.
Unless...
I'm only interested in one kind of rock.
Hard rock?
Yeah.
Have you been? There's a Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Minneapolis. They've got all... And at the Mall of America.
That's true. I've been to that one.
Yeah, well, so now finally we get somebody saying, hey... Jennifer has said, and she's right. Hey, you have 2 extra ends, and you aren't even watching. I agree, but we're now caught up. So I'll set the phone down, and we will pay serious attention to matters of consequence.
Yeah, we have similar situations in both ends. We have a rock on the center line for both teams without hammer, and we have a rock that could be a counting stone for both teams without hammer. Croy's shooting for, he has double centers, so he's trying for the T line. Alex is a little bit deep, unfortunately. And
you might want to move that overhead
here,
shot over. It's kind of blocking the.
Is looking at basically just protecting her one stone on the 4-foot. Pretty textbook ends as these things go. It's really just going to come down to whether Anne-Marie makes her last shot to the 4-foot. She's going to have a draw to the button, basically. Even full 4 is going to win the game for her. Todd's end is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, he gave up 3.
He did give up 3.
While we were talking about granite.
I talked about the 3.
All right, never mind.
You were ignoring the games and you were ignoring me?
What? What did you say?
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, hey, it's
I'm
your.
disheartened.
Was it your brother that brought the drinks?
It was.
Yeah. Well, that's his fault.
Yeah, fair enough. He is an asshole, you know.
I don't think so.
No, me neither.
So Jennifer liked her. That's a curling name, right?
Yeah, that's Alex's. Oh God, I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Relative
in some capacity.
Well, I can certainly see why she would be concerned.
Yes. Alex has a nice center here. As long as they can protect that one in the top 12, Croy's going to have a nice chance at getting to the 4-foot with his last buried and force Todd to draw the button. That rock did come a little bit deeper than they wanted. They've got one top 12. This was kind of a long 3, maybe a tight 2. And Hunter has a chance at a double peel here. If he makes it, Todd's in probably pretty good shape. He did not. I don't know where the cameras are, but.
Yeah, no, they're both down there. Yeah, we're watching that. Well played.
Looks like Kim's first, I think. Kim a little bit deep, which opens up a double for Anne-Marie. If she makes this, they're in really, really good shape for the win. Sean's trying to throw his guard, probably is a long 2. It's not going to cross center, unfortunately.
Yet it's a very good view of the pants.
Yeah, oh yeah. Great pants. Amazing. That rock's about the right distance they wanted, but unfortunately it's not in the right line. So now Todd gets to peel the tight one, which relieves the pressure on, if Croy comes into the top 4 at this point, that guard is long enough that you can access it with a hack weight kind of a shot. So that rock in the top 12-foot was really the dangerous one. Unfortunately, they weren't able to guard it, which allows Todd to get rid of it here. Anne-Marie looks like she's going to jam this one, which gives Kim one more shot.
They're cleaning the ice coming down.
Yep.
Don't want any little fuzzies out there.
No, definitely not.
Any foot grips.
Now we have a decision to make. This is kind of a tough spot because if you throw the center guard, they're really just drawing the wide 4-foot anyway. I don't know where you're supposed to put this, honestly. It might be correct to try to play a wide out turn and draw the back 4 and cover some more of the 4-foot, make their draw a little bit more tough. The other option is maybe tap your one in the 4-foot back a little bit and roll to the left side of the center line if you're Kim. Additionally, you could try to move your guard off the 4-foot a little bit or off the center line, guard more of the 4-foot, make Anne-Marie's draw a little bit more difficult. I think they've elected for the straight center, just guarding shot rock and hoping that Anne-Marie misses the draw to the 4.
Yeah, it kind of seems like there aren't any really great plays.
There's not a great spot you can put it. You're really just hoping for a miss anyway.
Yeah.
So at that point, you just have to decide what is she most likely to miss and what do I want her to throw.
Well, Steven's leaving right at these critical moments. He's going to go to use the restroom. He's running, though, so we've got that going on. On sheet 4, Persrink, the third, is throwing a rock, as everybody can see. And I think he's trying to hit the red, but he just got a little bit of it. But he's rolling out, and it looks like red is forcing 3 right now, or it shows 3. I can't really see over. I don't have an overhead for them, but and it looks like on the Rhyme rink, their rock kind of sits right in front of the Dubberstein rock. I'm sure everybody acknowledges on the web stream, Steve is very passionate, and actually Mike Farbolo was saying like he's a very passionate curler, and he's very passionate about his coverage of these ends. Oh, he's back. You might have heard in the background like our chair fell over. That was him hurdling over OJ style to get back on the mic.
From
you didn't miss much.
Tight.
Yeah, so Kim
her guard
laid a rock right in front of the other on the yellow there. And then Todd Burr's team split some rocks out, and now red's sitting 3.
Okay.
I think.
It looks like my guess is Croy is probably going to try to throw a really, really tight guard here.
Yeah.
I doubt he's going to come into the 4-foot on this one. Because if he does, Todd can get it out, and then Todd will have the same shot on his last. My guess is here he'll try to go real, real tight.
Nice view of those pants.
They're so good. They're so good.
You must know that guy.
I do. I know
yeah.
Croy.
Yeah. That's. There's only one reason why you would think those pants look good.
Is it the awesomeness of the pants?
They're pretty good. You know what? Which is also nice is the waistband is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is like coordinated with
amazing.
the rest of it.
It's clearly an ensemble.
Yeah, it's well thought out.
You know,
executed.
Yeah. It looks like a nice little Puma tracksuit, as it were. Okay, so Anne-Marie with a shot for the win here. She's taking this basically wired run back. I'm guessing she's just trying to hit almost nose, maybe a little bit on the outside of the red one to drive the yellow straight back onto shot rock in the 4-foot. There's a lot of places you can hit this that's good.
She looked a little wobbly coming out.
I think she's clean. The stone looks nice. I think this is a good shot. I think she's set. Atta kid. Nice shot, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, that was a beaut.
That'll do it.
Yeah, well, from what we watched in that game, that was a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have one end left.
Todd, knowing that he can't make this double peel to clean up the middle, is going to try to beat Croy to the button. Croy with his one in his last tight guard, he knew that Todd was going to play this shot, but his best chance at winning is giving Todd this chance and hoping Todd doesn't make it perfect. That's a tough thing to do with Todd. He's very, very good at that shot, and that's why. That rock is dead buried, top button. It's going to be really difficult for Croy to get it out. He's probably got to play the out turn wide. And even if he makes it, Todd's going to have the same shot to the button. So it was a gamble by Croy. I think it was the right one to play the tight guard on his last rather than come into the 4-foot. Mm-hmm. But it just didn't happen to pay off in this particular scenario because Todd made his draw perfect.
If there is an extra end, we're not sure if there's going to be an extra like a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
If there is, we'll set it up. We're not going to stick around. I did this last year, and it was
just put the cameras on.
Painful, but we're going to get it set up so it's like an overhead view so you can see both sides.
Yeah.
And we'll just let it run overnight.
Nice.
That's what we do. We're givers.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that Jennifer had commented about getting us back into the game, and And I think that was really wise, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because those were critical ends and important. Well, they are. This other one is too. So
Definitely. I mean, both have tiebreaker scenarios or playoff implications.
yeah. Sometimes I can come across as a smart ass, but I'm being genuine.
Word.
Yeah.
Cray has a few choices here. None of them are good. The out-turn soft tap.
Is there one shot left?
Croy has one left, Todd has one left.
Oh, yeah.
I think that yellow rock is about 2/3 buried, maybe half. Which means they can probably get to it with hackish. Yeah, so it's edge center line. The center line guard looks like it's maybe covering, maybe a little bit more. So it might be a little less than half buried. Or rather, you can see less than half. That's a difficult one to get to, especially because it's high enough in front of the tee line that even if they make this shot, Todd's going to have the entire button, the entire full 4 foot to get to for shot stone. And it's really just calls highlight to how great Todd's shot was in a pressure situation.
Yeah.
You know, Croy put the pressure on him with that tight center guard and said, okay, make it, buddy, you know, and then he did. It turns things around on Croy now, and you can see how long these guys are debating about what they're supposed to do. And there's really no clear answer, honestly. Their best chance, which is a weird shot, might be like angle. Oh, they can't. It's too steep of an angle to angle this one on the left into the shot rock. Because that's the best way to like get buried on the 4 foot.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but no.
But it's too steep of an angle. You can see on the screen, you know, they'd have to hit.
What would happen if they did a double run back of those double reds in the center?
Yeah, it's potentially makeable, but if they do that, what's going to happen then is probably one of the guards will spill off, the shooter will spill off, the one that's tight now will go straight back into the one, like if he makes it perfect, right? Yeah. The high guard spills off, the shooter spills off, the one on the center line goes straight back into shot rock, and then the one that's currently shot rock jams in the 8 foot, which leaves everything wide open, and Todd just picks the one on the 4 foot, and the 8 foot one counts as shot rock.
So, Cora Farrell just returned her microphone.
Thanks,
nice.
Cora.
Personally,
nice game, by the way.
Nice what?
Nice game from Cora.
Yeah. Yeah, Alaska produces fantastic curlers and salmon. Oh, it looks like he's got it. He's going to tap that back.
That's a perfect shot from Croy.
Yeah.
Great shot, Croy. Oh, he didn't quite get second. So now Todd can pick it out if he wants. He probably isn't going to. I think he's just going to draw. Wow. Okay. I'm surprised he's playing this. Not that I think it's wrong. I'm just, I would have expected him to draw.
If he did the same shot he did before, it would be. Yeah.
Especially because he just played it.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm saying. If he did the exact same shot.
Yeah. I'm surprised that he would play this shot.
But yellow is second, right?
Yellow is second shot.
Yeah.
Which is why he's considering playing this hit.
Yeah, but you could, well, depending on how you hit it, theoretically, you might jam on your own rock. Except it doesn't matter because you're going to be sitting up front. Yeah.
No, I think he's playing a hit, like a strong hit, to pick it out over the top of the yellow one. Yeah, he's throwing it hard. I think he's very close. Nice shot, Todd. Attaboy.
Well, that's another great game. That was
a very
good end.
Yeah, and
I'm glad we could concentrate on it.
Credit to Croy for coming back from multiple 3-point deficits there. Right, he was down 3-0 and 8-5.
Yeah, absolutely.
And was able to tie it both times, and that's another testament to the 5-rock rule and what it enables from curling. Like if you.
Do you know that the 5-rock rule played in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it allowed Croy to get stones in play in the 8th end.
All right.
And even if you end up in situations where, like, the team that's ahead would explicitly want to peel but can't kind of thing, even if you don't end up with those exact scenarios, the existence of the 5-rock rule influences the way the opening sequences of ends happen. Teams can do things because they can threaten a second corner guard. And so that affects the way that the team responds without the hammer. And that was able, Croy was able to get his 3 in the 3rd, and he was able to get his 3 in the 8th, both because of those scenarios.
All right. Well, Stephen, thanks for joining us
Chris,
tonight.
thanks for having me.
Good luck tomorrow.
I appreciate that.
I will be.
I don't know who we play yet.
Now that I know you,
yeah,
I will be rooting for you.
Thanks, man.
So, cheers.
All right.
And
good night to all of our viewers.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
We'll set
good
up
night,
the tiebreaker matches,
Erica,
if there are any.
And good night, Trey.
Yep.
Don't get in too much trouble. And if there's a tiebreaker, we will set it up for streaming, and otherwise we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 Central.
All right.
Time. Cheers, everybody.
Good nighty night.